Alex Plante Show podcast.
Area to resume their search for a body. Officers spent hours yesterday combing through the heavily wooded area, following up on information there could be a body there. So far, they found nothing. A Department of Veterans Affairs employee is charged with 4 counts of voyeurism after prosecutors claim 24-year-old Alex Greenlee went into a woman's bathroom at the VA offices on I Street Northwest back in January and hid 2 cameras under toilets there. A woman who saw Greenlee leaving the bathroom says he told her the men's room was out of paper towels. Police say the cameras recorded 5 women using the bathroom. New Mexico Democrat Senator Tom Udall says he's worried about President Trump's 4th of July salute to America at the Lincoln Memorial.
I'm just deeply concerned that the president is planning to take a nonpartisan celebration and turn it into some kind of de facto political rally.
Udall warned the Interior Department it would be against the law to spend any federal money on that. Secretary David Bernhardt responded.
If any president were celebrating the 4th of July, saluting America, we all should be positive about that. And I will make absolutely sure that every dollar we spend complies with the law. I will promise you that.
Detailed plans for the event have not been released. House Democrats have rejected the Trump administration's budget proposal to cut cleanup funding for the Chesapeake Bay by 90%. The Appropriations Committee instead has approved an increase from $73 to $85 million a year. The vote went along party lines and included a no vote by Maryland's only Republican in Congress, Andy Harris. Even after all of that safe track work, commuters are bracing for the longest shutdown in Metro history.
Platform Improvement Project, which will close 6 rail stations this summer south of Reagan National Airport. From May 25th to September 8th, there will be no yellow and blue line rail service south of the airport. The rest of the system we expect to operate as normal.
General Manager Paul Wiedefeld says this is the start of a 3-year station rehab project. Next summer, green and orange line stations will be targeted. A network of free shuttle buses will be available. You're encouraged to telework if you can. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial has become a beloved icon in Washington, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. A 4-year exhaustive study by the Vietnam Memorial Fund has uncovered a myriad of mistakes, including dozens of misspelled names, 25 names of soldiers who survived the war, 13 soldiers whose names are on the wall twice, and 1 whose name was etched in granite 3 times. Names are still being added, including 9 men whose remains were recently recovered. They'll be unveiled on Memorial Day. The National Zoo opens a new exhibit today honoring a national treasure, Smokey Bear, who's celebrating his 75th year as the figurehead of the nation's campaign to prevent wildfires. What many people don't know is there was a real Smokey Bear. He was rescued from a forest fire in New Mexico in 1950, lived at the National Zoo until his death in 1976. And longtime WMAL listeners will remember who gave Smokey his original voice on television, broadcast legend Jackson Weaver.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Up next, traffic and weather on WMAL.
So we have things happening.
The question is where?
China,
North Korea, and Venezuela,
the border,
Russia.
It will happen.
What happens next?
It's happening.
Happens here.
It's moving right here.
On WMAL.
Here's today's driving tip, fueled by Jiffy Lube. Texting while driving makes an accident up to 23 times more likely, according to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. So make sure your eyes stay on the road. Even talking on the phone has been shown to cause an increase in accidents, as drivers become more focused on their conversation than their surroundings. So turn your phone off while you're driving. Enjoy the trip and get to your destination safely. For a list of Jiffy Lube locations, visit jiffylubedc.com.
Sometimes you love your car, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it takes you far, and sometimes it won't. Its reliability is in your hands. Bring it to Jiffy Lube. We'll do all we can. We're good to your car, so your car will be good to you. Jiffy Lube.
Bring it to Jiffy Lube. You can do more in a jiffy.
9:05 at WMAL, traffic and weather. Here's Lisa Baden in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Maryland Outer Loop accident after Branch Avenue. That's on the shoulder now. Fairfax has fire department activity at the Skyline Plaza. It affects South George Mason Drive at 7 the Leesburg Pike. Accident in Arlington is Washington Boulevard near Arlington Boulevard. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Isolated storms, but they may be severe, 89. Chance of thunderstorms early tonight, then partly to mostly cloudy, 69. Some clouds and sunshine on Friday, a northwest breeze, 82. Saturday, sun low 80s, could hit 90 by Sunday, and cloudy mid-80s on Monday. I'm Ray Stajic, a Weather Channel on WMAL.
We have mostly sunny skies across the area this morning. It's 64 degrees in Haymarket, 67 in Damascus, and 66 at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. I'm John Matthews, 105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL.
Your shot to win $1,000 now. Text the national keyword SPEND to 95819. That's SPEND to 95819. Text SPEND to 95819. We'll text you back to confirm your entry. Data and messaging rates may apply. It's $4K a day on WMAL.
Thank you very much for all you do.
105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
And thank you for personally inspiring me.
That's good to hear. Where Washington comes to talk. Now, Chris Plante at AM 630.
Look, he's a spy and I'm a spy. He woke up on me. I want him to find out something, but he don't find out what I want to find out. Now, how am I going to find out what I want to find out if he don't find out what I got to find out?
These and other great questions are being asked in Washington today, and with about the same level of seriousness as well. Bang the gong. You got a little gongster going there. Good Thursday to you, and welcome. We're at 888-630-9625. Not since Richard Nixon has there been a cover-up of this magnitude. This is, I don't know if you caught any of this yesterday. Nancy Pelosi, she's the poison ivy of the Batman series that we're experiencing here in Washington, D.C. President Trump is Batman. We have a little audio. Michael Piercy working yesterday on Al Gore's Amazing Internet and the computer system we have here at the station worked up a little bit of Batman versus the Democrats thing, which we will have for you, I hope, this morning. And Nancy Pelosi yesterday, she came out. We played the audio. It was while we were on the air. Pelosi and Schumer. Schumer is like the Snidely Whiplash of politics, and Pelosi's the poison ivy. They kind of, I know, in and out of Batman there. But Nancy Pelosi came out. She was headed to the White House for a meeting with the president, and just before stepping into the armored motorcade, where she would be surrounded by strong, muscular, testosterone-filled, manly men carrying guns, firearms with bullets in them that would be used to shoot people if they menaced her. You know how they hate that. They hate the police and they hate guns, except when it comes to them. Because were it not for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. Nancy was preparing to mount the motorcade and head over to the White House, along with Chuckles Schumer over there. Hair grows on the outside of his nose. And she decided to poison everything. I was calling her Poison Ivy yesterday. It was kind of funny. Day before yesterday, we were calling her Poison Ivy because they're like Batman villains, these people. And then she walked up to the cameras and she poisoned the meeting. She was headed down the street up Pennsylvania Avenue to head to the White House to meet with the president, and she poisoned the well. She came out, went on television in front of all of her friends with MS and CNN, and said, the president is guilty of cover-up, and not a single dim-witted reporter, I'm making quotation marks with my fingers, thought to ask her the central, obvious, salient question, covering up what? What's the crime that is being covered up? Because they don't actually have an answer to that. There was one Democrat member of Congress had what is kind of an answer to that, I suppose. And it's laughable. It's absurd. It would be comical if we had a legitimate fourth estate. They'd be laughed out of the arena with this kind of drivel. But you know that the whole Russia collusion thing, we got 2 years of tube feeding, like a forced feeding diet, of this Russia collusion thing from the likes of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Adam Schiff and John Berman and CNN and MSNBC, the Washington Post, the New York Times, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Saturday Night Live. It's Russian collusion. It's Russian collusion. The View, Bill Maher, Showtime. It's Russian collusion. It's Russian collusion. Everywhere you turn, there's nothing but Russian collusion. And then it turned out the Mueller report. And we had Adam Schiff. He came out and he said, we will respect and abide by the findings of the Mueller report. That was just another lie, and nobody in the news media calls him on this. No, they just invite him on to tee up the next set of lies. They, Wolf Blitzer and the gang say, well, tell us what today's party-issued lie is so that we can carry it forward, as we always do, dutifully so. Adam Schiffless, the floor is yours. We will never question anything that you say, no matter how absurd or scurrilous it may be, because that's not the business we're in. We're in the business of moving the Democrat Party's agenda forward under the guise of some kind of phony television journalism. It's a sham. It's a scam. It's a put-on. Don't believe any of it. And you can listen to this station. You're listening to this show on this station. You can doubtless rely on the station that you're listening to right now to get the truth. And we've had a couple of libs this week. We had one nice lady call in. Mom is a lib. Mom watches MSNBC and believes what Rachel Maddow says. And Mom doesn't know anything about what's going on in the world that people that actually consume legitimate media know about a whole range of things, but whole bunch of things. But in any event, the Nancy Pelosi, she went and she issued the talking point of the day. The new words, they've morphed seamlessly from Russian collusion, Russian collusion, Russian collusion, right into cover up, cover up, cover up, right? And they like to say obstruction every now and then they say he's guilty of obstruction. Now, they're a lynch mob. This is how people got lynched in the old days. And it was the same people doing it. Well, I mean, they're not that old, but they're the same people. They're the lynch mob. These are the people that burn teenage girls as witches. This is what today's Democrat Party is, and they're a blood-sopped, bloodless. Can you be both? Yes, you can. Gang of miscreants who have absolutely no regard for the truth. In fact, they have extreme contempt for the truth, and they're just brimming with hatred. Boy. If I had known that they were going to take it this hard losing to Trump, I might have voted for Trump twice. And gosh, I look forward to President Trump winning again next year. I mean, these guys are suicide bombers at this point. Their credibility was blown up long ago. They put suicide vests on their credibility years ago. But the news media doesn't care. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, we have the audio of Nancy Pelosi coming out before heading to the White House yesterday, where she said, and there are many things to get to in addition to these people. And we are, by the way, at 888-630-9625, 9625, 630-9625, I can say it. Also, Michael Avenatti, that was Brian Seltzerwater's pick for President of the United States. He was fluffing him like a pro, like a champ, wasn't he? And Michael Avenatti charged with more crimes yesterday. He's facing well over 400 years in prison. He's facing, let me say that again, Michael Avenatti, the hero of the Democrat Party and the news media, the creepy porn lawyer, as Tucker calls him, is now facing he's in prison right now, and he's not getting out. And he's facing more than 400 years in prison. Now it turns out he also, in addition to everything else, extorting Nike or trying to, and the guy's a complete mental case. Stole $300,000 from this porn actress person, Stormy Daniels. That's good stuff. And so he's facing even more years in prison now. Dr. Ben Carson being attacked. We didn't get to it yesterday. We may get to it today. You got these half-witted members of Congress that are being promoted as champions of something or other by the news media because they set out to insult the intelligence of one of the planet's most renowned pediatric neurosurgeons. For Democrats, that's a brain surgeon that operates on the brains of babies, not just vacuuming the brains out and sharing the organs with their friends, but actually saving their lives. So it's a little bit different. That's why they don't understand the Dr. Ben Carson thing. The American Taliban being released. Democrats are applauding. They'll have a party for him when he gets out. ESPN says no more politics. And no more cocaine for the president of the thing. The mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, she's not going to use the Chicago police for her security detail. She's got private security because don't you know who she is? And that's kind of a peculiar one. And we've got all kinds of great stuff. Rashida Tlaib, she hates America and the West. And she's a Democrat in good standing on Capitol Hill. Just a few of the things. Beto O'Rourke and the CNN town hall. This is good stuff. How'd the ratings do for CNN? You know how they love ratings, don't you? Well, they're willing to make trade-offs, though. And Stacey Abrams, perhaps you've heard of her. She's another political genius. She lost the governor's race in Georgia. She still thinks she won. Honestly, she makes Chauncey Gardner look coherent and intelligent. This woman is really something. And the news media, they love her. They treat her like she's a genius and a hero and a martyr and a victim. We got more on rats because rats are taking over New York City. And I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has the solution. It's composting in the city. That'll probably take care of everything for you. And Siri, the United Nations, perhaps you've heard of them. This story is almost impossible to believe. The United Nations is weighing in. They have a report, and it's on Siri. And you'll never guess what the United Nations has to say about Siri. It's that thing you talk to and ask it questions, and somehow it magically knows the answers. It's more amazing than Lucky Charms. Nancy Pelosi, just before heading down the street to meet with the president on $1 trillion infrastructure bill, she decided, see, here's the thing. This I know is hard to believe. A lot of politics going on here. Nancy Pelosi was in deep trouble with her Democrat caucus, many of whom were yelling and screaming for impeachment. And she's saying, no impeachment. It would be bad for us politically. She's playing out the long-term Game of Thrones thing, and she thinks it will be bad for them in the 2020 elections. She may be right, and she may be wrong. She's probably right. And so she's trying to hold her radicals at bay, keep them on their chains, the Ilhan Omars and the Rashida Tlaibs and the AOCs, trying to keep them on a leash because they're rabid, crazy dogs seeking to slake their thirst on the blood of innocents. You know, typical Democrat Party stuff. And Pelosi's tried to keep them in a cage. And she was going down to meet with the president on a big bill that the Democrats pretend they're interested in moving forward. They're lying because – and you want to know why nothing ever gets done in this city, in Washington, why it takes 25 years to get to border security? This is why. We're seeing it play out every day. Because these people are poison. Because they're awful, horrible people. Nancy Pelosi – heading off to, and let me just finish up the thought on the politics. She's trying to hold her people at bay. So she's got the story yesterday would have been Pelosi in hot water with her own base. She's trying to keep them in a cage because they're yelling impeachment, impeachment, when Pelosi knows there's nothing to impeach him over. That would have been the story. Pelosi went out and said the president is engaged in a cover-up. A cover-up of what? Nobody asked that question because they're not reporters, they're Democrats. And then they go to the White House, blow up the meeting, and then Trump gets the blame. See, Pelosi knows that going in, that when she poisons the well, blows up the whole day and the meeting with the president, then the president predictably, and perhaps he shouldn't have, but predictably lashes out when they get to the White House. Then the media says, can you believe Trump's behavior? He just blew up this whole infrastructure meeting. And it's the same thing they did with de Blasio the other day. De Blasio attacks the president in his video announcing that he's laughably running for president. Then he goes on DNC TV and CNN and he says the same thing, that, the president is a terrible person. He calls him all kinds of names. The president predictably responds by Twitter, and the news media announces de Blasio announces for president is immediately attacked by Trump. They leave out the de Blasio attack on Trump. And today they're doing the same thing. They're leaving out the Pelosi attack on Trump. That led to the Trump response against Pelosi. But again, Pelosi went out to cameras just preparing to saddle up on the big armored black SUVs that are destroying the planet, and the men bristling with guns, strong, manly, heterosexual men that work out at the gym and have high testosterone levels and shoot people if the opportunity presents itself. Nancy Pelosi.
We do believe that it's important to follow the facts. We believe that no one is above the law, including the President of the United States. Yeah. And we believe that the President of the United States is engaged in a cover-up. In a cover-up. She wanted to make sure to say it twice, and then she walked away. And nobody asked her a question. Nobody. None of the fluffers with press passes said, a cover-up of what? Well, what's the crime? Because, again, you remember when the collusion thing was over with and these frauds on television started saying, well, collusion is not a crime. Remember they turned on a dime like the worms that they are, and they started saying, well, collusion is not a crime. And now here we are again with a word that's not a crime, a term that's not a crime, a cover-up. There has to be a crime for there to be something to cover up. But none of the dimwits posing as reporters are going to challenge any Democrat on anything ever in the foreseeable future from any of these phony networks. The obvious answer, the low-hanging fruit, the T-ball sitting on the tee, is covering up what? And then sometimes, and nobody asks them that, they bring up the word obstruction as though this hasn't been litigated, as though that wasn't investigated for 2 years by Mueller, as though the Mueller report isn't out, as though they never said they would accept the findings of the Mueller report, as though none of this ever happened. We're starting over again. And, by the way, there will be no infrastructure bill because, there's a cover-up. A cover-up of what? And whenever you hear the news media, they take their marching orders from the Democrat Party. They snap to like the little parrots that they are, the little poodles sitting on the lap of Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat Party, being stroked occasionally and poked in the eye occasionally so that they behave as the Democrats instruct them to behave. Where do you see this? We have demonstrations for you.
There's only one Chris Plante. The Chris Plante Show. Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
From the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center, WMAL Traffic, I'm Lisa Faden. Maryland, southbound 95 crash before exit number 38, Route 32. Everyone is now on the shoulder. Virginia, 395, a northbound delay approaching Glebe Road. After we're on Glebe Road before Washington Boulevard, there's a stalled car. They moved that one on to the right. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Partly cloudy today with afternoon thunderstorms possible and a high of 89. Cloudy with a shower possible overnight, low 69.
77% of rural counties lack sufficient primary health care. Blue Cross Blue Shield is working to fill that gap by placing former military medics in communities, improving access for the health of America. The Blue Cross Blue Shield Association is an association of independent, locally operated Blue Cross and Blue Shield companies.
This is Chris Plante, and with me today is financial coach David Aarons. David, for years I've talked about your financial practice and the 1010 IRA, but now we're showcasing something new, the Agility 75 Personal Pension Plan. What makes the Agility 75 so special?
Well, Chris, it boils down to 4 simple and unique features. A 25% match on your rollover IRA, 401k, or TSP plan. A 75% multiplier that increases the interest credit to your benefit base by 75% every year. Increasing income for life, and best of all, 0% annual fees.
This is obviously something worth investigating. How do we find out more?
And that's the best part, Chris. It's so simple. Just call or text to 888-411-4130 and request Agility 75 info. Zero pressure, zero hassle. Just call or text to 888-411-4130. That's 888-411-4130.
You've got all kinds of hustle, like get the job done hustle and get the kids out the door hustle. If you've got hustle, we've got your back. University of Maryland University College, a respected state university with 90-plus programs and specializations, and more than 70 years' experience serving working adults like you. That includes rolling admissions to help you get started, and you can get credit for your career experience, affordable courses, and no-cost digital course materials for most programs, and the flexibility of online classes to fit your busy life. If you've got hustle, University of Maryland University College is made for you. Get started fulfilling your dreams. Earn an undergraduate or graduate degree or certificate with University of Maryland University College. Apply by May 31st and we'll waive your application fee. Visit umuc.edu/radio and apply today. That's umuc.edu/radio. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Save up to $1,800 this week at Mattress Warehouse. And rest assured, because buying a mattress at Mattress Warehouse means you have a 1-year price guarantee. Find a better price, they'll match it plus 50% of the difference. Visit sleephappens.com.
Hey, I just heard that people at my friend's company got sextortion emails.
Yeah, it's a popular type of spear phishing attack.
Wow, that sounds serious.
It is. Scammers claim to have a compromising video of the victim and threaten to share it with their contact list unless they pay a ransom.
What if they target someone at our company?
We're secured with Barracuda Sentinel. It uses artificial intelligence to block spear phishing attacks, including sextortion emails.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Underage smoking and vaping is a serious problem. One way to combat it, raise the legal age to purchase from 18 to 21. About 80% of high school students turn 18 before graduating. If they can legally buy tobacco, they can share with underage classmates. Raising the purchase age to 21 reduces underage access. That's why Juul Labs supports making 21 plus the law nationwide. Learn more at juul.com/T21. Juul Labs, for adult smokers only. Paid for by Juul Labs.
When you expect more, you get more. Roofing and More, INC.com.
Roofing and more, what's the more for? Windows, siding, gutters, and doors.
Have you heard about Newsmax TV? It's America's fastest growing cable news channel in 70 million homes. Every minute, every day. Watch Newsmax for breaking news on President Trump. Plus, get insights from Bill O'Reilly, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, Mike Reagan, and more. You can find Newsmax TV on DirecTV, Xfinity, Dish, Optimum, Spectrum, Fios, Uverse, Suddenlink, WOW, and dozens of cable systems. So check your guide now and watch Newsmax TV. Real news for real people.
For a limited time, get a bonus of up to $200 to spend on board in Alaska with Celebrity Cruises. Book today at Celebrity.com. Call 1-800-CELEBRITY or contact your travel advisor. Offer expires May 29th and applies to select Alaska sailings. Onboard credit amount varies by stateroom category. Other terms apply. Ships Registry, Malta. 105.9 FM and AM 630. Washington's Mall. WMAL. Where Washington comes to talk.
All right, a great deal to get to. There's a fun story out today about Jerry Nadler and his booster seat. Have you seen this? The Penguin. He needs a booster seat when he's there. Did you see there's this video of him doing an interview with John Harwood, who's a Democrat posing as a journalist, and they're eating, and Nadler is just shoveling food loudly into his slobbering pie hole while slinking down in this chair. He's sitting at a table, like a 2-top or a 4-top kind of table at looks like a dumpy restaurant in New York. And he's sitting in the chair. It's a normal-sized chair, a normal-sized table that normal-sized people would sit at. And when he puts his arms on the table, his elbows go straight out because his body's only high enough to. He's the Penguin. I'm just telling you, he's the Penguin. And you can hear his mouth the whole time, just slobbering, sucking down food and slipping between his teeth. That makes more noise than him speaking. It's grotesque. I wouldn't actually advise watching it. That's enough of a description, I think, right there. You don't need to do much more than that. But old Jerry Nadler, the Penguin, and Poison Ivy, and all these other people. We have an audio thing we want to play for you. Also, Beto O'Rourke's CNN town hall ranks near bottom of ratings. What? The presidential candidate, is he still running? Beto F. O'Rourke, Robert Francis, is not only starting to appear trending downward toward the bottom of the polls among the Democrats, but his televised town hall on CNN now holds the distinction of being one of the lowest in ratings for the network. Beto F. O'Rourke, CNN town hall, averaged 714,000 total viewers, 194,000 in the 25-54 demographic. So that means in a nation of 330,194,000 people, 330 million people were not watching CNN. 194, that's like one stadium of people in a nation of 330 million.
This is the Chris Plante Show. Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
WMAL traffic from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. I'm Lisa Baden. Massachusetts Avenue heads up at Westmoreland Circle. There's been an accident. Gone is a crash in the district westbound on the freeway at the 3rd Street Tunnel and South Capitol Street in front of Nationals Park. Improving, accident gone. Virginia, outer loop at Leesburg Pike. There's been a collision. Stay to the left. Now, from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Partly cloudy today with afternoon thunderstorms possible and a high of 89. Cloudy with a shower possible overnight, low 69.
At Tires Plus, you're in the driver's seat. They'll show you the best tire options for your car so you can choose what works for you. When it comes to service, they make the recommendations, you make the call. Check out all the latest offers at TiresPlus.com.
Are kids better off in an intact family? You bet they are. This is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Kids living in a household with married parents do better in school, they're emotionally healthier, and they're more likely to stay out of trouble with the law. If you're in a troubled marriage, of course you should do everything you can to save your marriage, if only for your kids' sake. This includes considering alternatives to divorce. Of course, in some circumstances, divorce is unavoidable. In either case, if you're a man facing a crisis in your marriage, let us help you at Cordell & Cordell. Remember, we're the partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives, which includes protecting men's financial means to do so. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Fairfax area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 571-446-0000. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in Falls Church.
Hi, I'm Patrick Fingles, owner of New Look Home Design. More people replace their roofs in spring than any other time. This spring, we're offering homeowners the ability to pay for half the roof later and the other half never. Through May 31st, take 50% off of all roofing materials. And the other half, pay us later with 12 months interest-free financing. That's hard to beat. Just listen to what homeowners are saying. Cassidy and Rob Porter said, "We were a little confused about the sale. Half later, half never's kind of weird. But once we saw it, let's just say it's a one-of-a-kind deal. Don't be left out. Why pay half now and half later when you can pay half later and half never? We've installed over 30,000 roofs, and every roof comes with a lifetime warranty. Call 800-279-5300. That's 800-279-5300. NewLookHomeDesign.com. Through May 31st, pay half later, half never.
Hi, this is Larry O'Connor, and like many people, my experiences with the dentist when I was a kid were not the most comfortable. I had a big fear of the dentist, but for the past 5 years, I've been going to see Dr. Rob and Dr. Deb at Bethesda Sedation Dentistry. I want to tell you about Dr. Rob and Dr. Deb. First of all, most importantly, they're amazing dentists. They helped me overcome my dental fear, and honestly, it's been life-changing. Their approach with me was compassionate and non-judgmental. Everything is talked about in advance. It's all 100% permission-based, so they proceed at the speed you're comfortable with. They really walk you through your visit every step of the way. And since May is National Military Appreciation Month, Bethesda Sedation Dentistry will donate $100 to the Fisher House Foundation for every new patient visit. Trust me, if you have any dental fear at all and nagging tooth pain, interested in sedation dentistry, or just looking for a great dentist, call Rocky at Bethesda Sedation Dentistry, 301-530-2434, 301-530-2434, or visit BethesdaSedationDentistry.com. Bethesda Sedation Dentistry. Sleep, dream, smile.
Everybody's different, so shouldn't our rides be different too? Consider Reach a Ride, created for people like you and the ones you love. Find options in public transportation, curb-to-curb service, private or wheelchair-accessible taxis, and more. Get where you want to go with Reach a Ride. Relax, you can find a ride. Visit reacharide.org. That's reacharide.org. Or call 1-855-REACH-A-RIDE from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Reach a Ride, for rides within reach.
For 61 million baby boomers, the future is coming. And while they prepare for a life with fewer alarm clocks and shorter commutes, Medicare Advantage is preparing for their healthcare future today with wellness programs and technologies making care more convenient, comprehensive, and cost-effective for seniors and our nation. Great health and independence for seniors. A better future for all Americans. Medicare Advantage. It's modern healthcare for seniors. Better outcomes for our nation. Learn more at BetterMedicareAlliance.org.
Are you a parent of a child with disabilities who desperately needs a break? Then you need to know about Jill's House. To find out more, visit our website, jillshouse.org.
Weekdays at noon, it's Rush Limbaugh on Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Oh, yes. We have a bunch of audio sound bites for you today. Poor CNN. They keep doing everything they can for the party, even propping up the Napoleon Dynamite of politics over here. Beto F. O'Rourke. And, 194,000 people. It's a big stadium, but it's like a stadium in Brazil or something. There are more people watching Goldfish on cable than there are watching CNN. Are there goldfish on cable? There might be. My cable system has jellyfish and things like that. You can watch. It's not live, but you can watch this stuff. I think there are probably more people watching that than watching CNN, and with good reason, because it's an embarrassment, not just to journalism and to the English-speaking people everywhere, but really to Western civilization as a whole. It's a disgrace. CNN is. It's an embarrassment. I'm ashamed to have ever expended my energies on behalf of that company. It's sad. It's tragic. But lots of good stuff today. Hey, Stacey Abrams, you know her. She's a Democrat. She ran for governor in Georgia, and she lost. She doesn't think she lost, but that's kind of a strange thing because she lost. These people are really something. How much did she lose by? She lost by tens of thousands of votes. That's how many votes she lost by. And she still does not accept the results. And she's going around telling people that she won. I mean, this is pretty crazy stuff. It honestly is. It's like Hillary Clinton going around saying she won, which I think she's done, actually, hasn't she? These people are screwed up in the head, and we shouldn't think of them as political leaders. We should take pity on them. We should feel sad for them and sorry for them. It's crazy. These people are kind of crazy, and they should be saved, I think, by people that love them, if there are any people that love them. She lost the governor's race by more than 50,000 votes, and she still claims, and there's all this BS that they suppressed the black vote. It's a lie, but it's racist and racially divisive, at least, which is what the Democrats do. She is really something, this Stacey Abrams person.
The notion of identity politics has been peddled for the last 10 years, and it's been used as a dog whistle to say that we shouldn't pay too much attention to the new voices coming into progress.
Progress?
I would argue that identity politics is exactly who we are, and it's exactly how we won.
You lost. Hillary lost. You lost. She thinks it's exactly how they won. Yeah, but we need the eggs. Stacey Abrams proclaims we won Georgia governor's race, and identity politics is exactly who we are. This is what she said. It's amazing. Former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams told a crowd on Wednesday, we won. That's what she said. She said, we won, which resulted in Republican Brian Kemp becoming the state's governor. She won, but the Republican is living in the governor's mansion because she got 50,000 fewer votes, and in gubernatorial elections, that's how you scored. It's one state, you see. You don't have the Electoral College, so there's nothing tricky that can go on here. And she's still claiming that those evil, nefarious Republicans who are racist, not the party of Bull Connor and Jim Crow, but the Republican Party, they're the party of racists. You know, I know this because I watch the news. and that's the only place you're told that, but that's okay. And from the Democrats here, she lost the race, and she's going around by 50,000 votes. That's a lot of votes in a statewide election. And she's still going around telling people that she won. She's saying that they suppressed the votes, even though there was a greater number of African-American votes in this gubernatorial election than in any past gubernatorial election in Georgia. I think, isn't that right, in the history of Georgia? More African-Americans voted and registered, people registered. Now, every now and then the state, as other states do, are supposed to go through and cull the voter rolls of people that died 10 years ago, people that moved to Florida 15 years ago, so that you don't have all these names on the voter rolls, people that don't live in Georgia anymore, haven't had a driver's license there for 20 years, And the state of Georgia failed to do that in a couple of cycles when they were supposed to have done it. And then they said, hey, we got to get back to cleaning up the voter rolls because we have been remiss. So they got back to cleaning the voter rolls. And they cleaned more than you might have if you had done it on a regular and ongoing basis, because they had neglected that responsibility for a number of cycles. And so voters were taking up their voter rolls. Now, nobody came forward and said, hey, I showed up and my name wasn't there. I'm registered and they took my name off the voter. That didn't happen. You see, that didn't happen. But they're still claiming, even though they have no actual evidence to support this, that there was a sinister and nefarious plot to steal the election along race lines, of course, because the Democrats know nothing if they don't know racial division, the party of lynchings and the Klan, and the 40% abortion rate for the black community, which they get trophies for. They give out awards for this stuff. The notion of identity politics has been peddled for the last 10 years, she said. But then she says that we are, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't logically follow. The first half of her sentence makes no sense in light of the second half of her sentence. But here it is. The notion of identity politics has been peddled for the last 10 years, and it's been used as a dog whistle. They love this dog whistle stuff, don't they? To say that we shouldn't pay too much attention to the new voices coming into progress. That doesn't mean anything. Coming into progress is a nonsensical turn of phrase. But that's what she said anyway. She was with the Center for American Progress, a bunch of America-hating lefties. She said, I would argue that identity politics is exactly who we are and exactly how we won. I marvel at this. It's so insane on so many different levels. You lost, Hillary lost, you didn't win, she didn't win. This is not how I guess you went back to the House of Representatives. You think it was identity politics? Racial division does it. That's what does it for the Democrats. They are something, these people, these Democrats. Boy, howdy. Let me tell you. All right, let's we haven't gone to a phone call yet. It's 42 minutes after. Let's go to a phone call. Let's go to John calling from La Plata, Maryland. John, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, John.
This whole Daffy Pelosi thing, she sounds like the queen from Alice in Wonderland. We got to have the sentence first and the trial later. It's kind of like we have to impeach the president to find out what he's guilty of.
You're 100% right. There's, again, I keep asking this question the last couple of days. You're saying that that there's a cover-up, and not a single reporter has asked the glaringly obvious question, cover-up of what? Because they don't have an answer to that. They just hurl these crazy claims, collusion. It's Russian collusion. Well, there's no Russian collusion. They couldn't get over the election of Donald Trump when Hillary Clinton, the fix was in, the media had done their duty, the Democrat was going to win, the Republican was a laughingstock, he was a bad person, he was going to lose. Didn't turn out that way, even though the crooks had rigged the system. And then the Mueller report, and I have this audio today of this really incredibly dishonest person, the inchworm, Adam Schiff, saying before the Mueller report came out, saying we will abide by the findings of the Mueller report, which is, of course, just another lie. And CNN never plays that audio when they invite him on because he has clearly not accepted the findings of the Mueller report. And then they perform the Nutcracker Suite ballet on the head of a pin over here by saying that the Mueller report did not exonerate him of obstruction of justice. It's true. In a peculiar way, the Mueller report ceded that responsibility to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General brought in the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, a known Trump hater, and the Office of Legal Counsel at the Justice Department. They reviewed the available evidence. They did what Mueller refused to do, and they came to a conclusion that there was no chargeable obstruction of justice. Therefore, done. Dust your hands off, walk away, it's over. But they can't do that. They won't do that. They're not going to do that in any event. They are still digging their creepy claws into the side of this leaden lifeboat from the good ship Titanic, and they're going to go down with the latest pack of lies. There was no Russian collusion. There was no Russian blah. Yeah, the Russians tampered. They're commies. We know that. You know, Putin is a bad guy. Obama sucked up to him. Hillary sucked up to him. They tried the best that they could do to suck up to him. Barack Obama sent socks to the Ukrainian military when the Russians were killing them. President Trump sent them rockets to blow up armored vehicles with Russians in them to kill Russian troops. Now, who's pandering to Russia and who's not? Hillary Clinton taking in $100 million at the Clinton Foundation from Russian interests related to the Kremlin and to Putin and all that. The news media is never going to get into any of that. It's quite extraordinary. And now they have moved seamlessly, John, from Russian collusion to cover-up. And not a single lazy-ass, phony, baloney reporter in Washington has said cover-up of what? Now, how many days have to go by? How many press conferences have to be held before a single Democrat is harassed by a reporter saying, well, wait a minute, you're saying there's a cover-up. A cover-up of what? I mean, you can't, a cover-up isn't a crime. Saying those words doesn't mean a crime was committed. It insinuates, it seems to imply that a crime was committed, and that's where our phonies in the Fourth Estate are supposed to come in and say, but wait a minute, Madam Speaker, you seem to be insinuating something, but there's no meat on this bone. And where is the crime that is being covered up? What is it that's being covered up? And then she'd and stammer around, and she'd become confused and not know what day of the week it was, and the media could cover that up for her. What was she babbling about the other day where she lost her train of thought and was just off in space somewhere during the course of one of her phony events? And the news media just smooths it over for her. It's extraordinary. But listen, John, you're 100% right. They're once again, and we talked about this with Michael Flynn, with Justice Kavanaugh. You, in Democrat world, because they're Stalinists, they're not Democrats, you are guilty until proven innocent if you are their political enemies. I've been talking for years about how they love to imprison, how they love to jail their political enemies, because that's what the left does all over the world. And now they got Paul Manafort on things completely unrelated to the campaign, not to mention Russia and collusion and all that. They tried to nail Michael Flynn. They're going to send him to prison. Political enemy, when his crimes are less egregious than what we have James Comey on videotape committing, repeated instances of what certainly appear to be perjury. And it's clear that he did know there was surveillance going on of the Trump campaign, and he lied under oath and said that he wasn't aware of any surveillance going on of the Trump campaign. He lied under oath. Now, they're accusing the Attorney General of lying under oath. If you read Andrew McCarthy's piece in National Review, The Big Lie That Barr Lied, is a perfectly adequate piece to refer to. Read the question, read the answer. Know the facts. There was no lie there. But they kept saying it. They keep saying it. They were saying it this morning on MSNBC, that Barr lied under oath and committed perjury. It's not true. It's demonstrably false, but they continue to repeat the party line anyway. Speaking of which, I have, John, thank you, buddy. And you're absolutely right. You're guilty until proven innocent in liberal world because they're the left. And this is why prisons are filled with political opponents in every country controlled by lefties on the planet. And in the course of my lifetime, the left jails their political enemies en masse. Here they have to do it in onesies and twosies, while simultaneously they let people go, like the leadership of the Taliban that Barack Obama gave up in exchange for Bo Bergdahl, like American Taliban who's getting out of prison early, like Bradley Manning who Barack Obama let go after 7 years of a 35-year sentence for betraying his country, my country. These people are not on our side. They're not truth people. They're not honest people. They're not justice people, even though they like that word very much. They don't believe in justice. They believe in party first, party last, party always. These are not good people, not honest people. However, I'm an honest person, and I'm a good person. I have the very, very good person, much better than any of these, much morally superior, intellectually superior. I'm honest. They're not. I'm hamming a little bit, but, you know, these are just awful, terrible people. And I have the audio today to demonstrate what's wrong with the things that they are doing, with everything that they are doing. It's a cover-up, and the media is like, oh, it's a cover-up. Can you believe it? There's a cover-up. Nancy Pelosi says the words cover-up, and the little lapdogs, the scruffy little poodles, wagging their little tails at Nancy Pelosi's ankle. What can we say for you now? What can we do? Can we parrot the party line for you? Oh, yes, you can, my little poodles. Please parrot the party line. And they dutifully follow through. I have the proof.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it away from the fog of the controversy.
You're listening to The Chris Plante Show.
Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Delays on southbound 95 Virginia out of Lorton to get to Dale City because of a work zone in the left lane. This near Dale Boulevard. From the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center, WMAL Traffic, I'm Lisa Baden. 95 Virginia northbound, coming out of Fredericksburg to the Beltway. Everything's open and moving okay. They're taking care of a stalled car on 395 northbound at Seminary Road. Maryland, southbound 95 at exit 38, Route 32 Columbia. Crash on the shoulder with a minor backup. Now, from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Partly cloudy today with afternoon thunderstorms possible and a high of 89. Cloudy with a shower possible overnight, low 69.
This portion of the Chris Plante Show is brought to you by Bray & Scarf.
If you're shopping for appliances, go to a drugstore for some aspirin. Or shop the Bray way at Bray & Scarf. We take the pain out of appliance shopping with the answers you need and the attention you deserve. Our customer service isn't business, it's personal. Our appliance experts know more so that you can know more. We're the area's #1 local and independent appliance retailer with premium brands like Sub-Zero and Wolf. Shop local at Bray & Scarf, where it doesn't cost more to get more.
Save now and save big on the appliances you need at the Bray & Scarf Memorial Day Sale with exclusive deals you won't find anywhere else. Like double rebates on select KitchenAid packages. Not just $400, but $800 back. Plus free basic installation on select KitchenAid wall ovens, cooktops, and dishwashers. If you need appliances, the time to save is now. Shop local at any of Bray & Scarf's 14 locations or go to brayandscarf.com, where it doesn't cost more to get more.
Hi, it's Vince. There is nothing like getting a new kitchen or bath, but when you're going to invite somebody into your sanctuary, you need somebody you can trust. That's why I trust the good folks at Remodel USA. Family owned and operated, the Remodel USA team is the best choice for that remodeling project that you've been putting off. Call 800-NEW-REMODEL now to get 60% off installation of your new kitchen or bath, plus another $2,500 off. 800-NEW-REMODEL or 800newremodel.com.
Hey, it's Chris Plante. Listen, if you're back in the singles market, don't be distracted by all the online dating apps and algorithms. The truth is, finding a real connection in person works so much better. And that's what the professional matchmakers at It's Just Lunch do for you. Imagine having a dedicated recruiter for your dating life who guarantees you will go out on dates. Well, that's exactly what It's Just Lunch promises. First, they get to know you. Then they get you on real dates with other educated professionals in a fun and safe environment. Could be lunch, could be drinks after work. The point is, finding a real connection today requires professional, personal expertise. So take control of your dating life today. Call them at 202-466-6699. That's 202-466-6699. Or visit itsjustlunchdc.com. It's Just Lunch. Connection awaits with guaranteed dates.
Spruce up your space with a home equity line of credit from PenFed Credit Union. Act now and enjoy rates as low as 5.50% APR. Everyone is welcome to apply. Visit PenFed.org. That's PenFed.org. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. Call 1-800-970-7766 to obtain details about credit costs and terms.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising. Sponsored by Case Legal Media.
Attention. This is an important message for anyone that has been diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers. The Internal Agency for Research on Cancer warned that overexposure to Roundup and other weed killers may increase the risk of developing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Monsanto, the manufacturer of Roundup, may have known that Roundup and other weed killers were likely linked to organ damage and cancer. This information was hidden from the public as proprietary trade secret since 1981, and Monsanto may have failed to warn of the potential risk of cancer. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
Call us now at 800-715-3913. Our network of attorneys are ready to fight for you. You'll pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call now for a free consultation at 800-715-3913. You must protect your legal rights. Call 800-715-3913. Again, 800-715-3913.
At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The stories behind the headlines. Weekday mornings on the Mall. WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Oh, we have a montage. We have kind of a musical thing for you today, too. I don't want to get all off Broadway on you or anything, but Michael Piercy made a fun thing. Yeah, Stacey Abrams still going around saying she won. Beto O'Rourke supporting her, calling her a hero for losing with such grace. She's been the least gracious loser, well, since Hillary Clinton, I guess. Not that long. Record number of registered voters in Georgia, greatest number in history. Record number of minority voters, greatest number in history. And she's still claiming it was rigged and it was racist. These people are not well. They're not. And we shouldn't think of them as our national political leaders. We should recognize that there's something wrong with them, and we should not treat them with respect and reverence. We shouldn't. The media shouldn't. But the media. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Tim calling from Warrenton, Virginia. Tim, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris. I was just going to say, you talked about with the Democrats that it's guilty until proven innocent. I disagree. It's guilty until proven guilty. They're never going to admit that Trump's innocent. They're never going to admit Barr's innocent. It's the same as what Reid did with Romney's taxes. And then after the election said he admitted he lied about it, but he said, well, he didn't win the election.
Absolutely true. The always disreputable, dishonorable Harry Reid, who the news media also treated with great reverence. And it was Dana Bash on CNN that was asking him, said, but you said that he didn't pay his taxes for 10 years. And Harry Reid said, yeah, well, look what happened. We won, didn't we? And he gave a creepy little smile. And CNN and everybody there was fine with it. They're like, well, gosh, he sure is a good politician, isn't he? Isn't that great? It's great when Democrats lie and deceive the American people and perpetrate fraud and slander and smear people better than themselves. And the news media never circles back to check the like Adam Shifless has been lying for 2 years. They still invite him onto CNN to present a new bundle of lies.
It's all false narratives, and they keep finding whether it was Gore in 2000. Remember, they did 27 recounts till they found one that actually had him winning.
Yeah.
And when you lose the election in the way the rules are set up with the Electoral College, and everybody knew that, then we claim we won the popular vote. That's like the loser of the World Series saying they had more runs in the 7 games, even though they lost 4 of the 7 games.
That's exactly right.
Trying to change the rules. I got one other point.
Sure.
I can tell you, I work in the IC,
Uh-huh.
and I love something Jim Jordan said the other day about referencing Justin Amash.
Yeah.
Amash doesn't get what this is about. And these never Trumpets that always are against Trump, it's like, this isn't about Trump. This is about whether a sitting president can use the intelligence community to go after an opposing political candidate and abuse the intelligence community in that way. And those of us who are part of the IC have to deal with the aftermath, where our job is made so damn hard all the time because nobody trusts the IC to not.
WMAL FM Woodbridge, WMAL Washington. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL Washington. A Cumulus station where Washington comes to talk. News now.
WMAL News at 10. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Matthews. New this hour, John Walker Lind, the so-called American Taliban, is now a free man. Released from a federal prison in Indiana in the past hour after spending 17 years behind bars. Lind was arrested on a battlefield in Afghanistan shortly after 9/11, convicted for helping the Taliban.
Lind will now be on a 3-year term of supervised release. He will live in Virginia, subject to the direction of his probation officer.
Correspondent Barbara Starr. Lind's release was opposed by the family of Mike Spann, a soldier killed in Afghanistan during an uprising of Taliban prisoners. President Trump has drawn the line on working with Democrats until they stop working on him. So how does he keep moving forward with his agenda?
Well, the president's going to try and still pass critical legislation, but he's also going to work through the executive branch to do what he can. We saw that with the declaration of a national emergency for immigration. We've seen that through lowering drug prices and a number of other issues. The president's going to focus on his key priorities, whether that's through his executive power or through Congress.
White House Deputy Communications Director Adam Kennedy tells WMAL's Mornings on the Mall it's clear the Democrats have no desire to work with the president. President Trump's promised 4th of July salute to America at the Lincoln Memorial came up during the Interior Department's budget review in the Senate. Democrat Senator Tom Udall.
Mr. Secretary, can you assure us that no funds appropriated by this subcommittee will be spent on activities that are partisan or that serve purely to aggrandize the president?
Interior Secretary David Bernhardt.
Absolutely, I can give you that commitment. I think it's fantastic that the president might take time to join folks on the National Mall to celebrate America's Independence Day.
No detailed plans are available for the event yet. Budget talks are underway in the House as well, and the Democrats running that show have responded to an administration call for a 90% cut in Chesapeake Bay cleanup funding by increasing the budget instead from $73 to $85 million a year. Congressman Andy Harris, Maryland's only Republican, sided with the GOP in the party line vote. A long-planned Arlington public boathouse is getting another nudge forward.
It's been planned for quite a long time.
Arlington County Manager Mark Schwartz has gotten the okay from the county board to sign an agreement with the National Park Service to move the project forward.
Having waterfront access to the Potomac River for area residents in the form of a rowing facility is a priority.
Schwartz is hopeful the new boathouse will be built within the next 10 years along the Potomac south of the Key Bridge. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
An employee at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is accused of hiding 2 cameras in a woman's room at the VA offices on I Street Northwest and recording 5 women using the restroom. According to court documents, 24-year-old Alex Greenlee placed the cameras under the toilet back in January. When a woman saw Greenlee come out of the bathroom, she asked him what he was doing in there, and he told her the men's room was out of paper towels. Greenlee faces 4 charges of voyeurism. Checking your money, the Dow is down 378 points, the NASDAQ down 108. Up next, traffic and weather on WMAL.
Join WMAL for the 2nd annual Woodbridge Beer Fest, Saturday, May 25th at Stonebridge at Potomac Town Center, with beer, food, wine, root beer for the kids, and a ton of fun for adults and kids alike. Enter to win tickets at WMAL.com/events. Woodbridge Beer Fest features dozens of the best local and regional craft breweries, food vendors, live music, and kid-friendly activities. Get the best price by purchasing in advance. Learn more at WMAL.com/events. WMAL.com/events.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Put yellow in your lot and green in your wallet. Albin Cat, your local Caterpillar dealer, is now offering 0% financing for 48 months or cash back. Visit our showroom in Manassas or digwithcat.com. That's digwithcat.com. Dealer territory restrictions may apply.
WMAL traffic and weather, Steve Hirschhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
95 in Virginia southbound now is pretty slow. They're doing some road work southbound on 95. It's down before Dale City in the left lane. Delays down from 123. Scheduled only to be there until noon. Northbound 95, still heavy Dale City up to the Occoquan and from the Franconia Springfield Parkway up to the Springfield Interchange. Outer loop before the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, it was an accident in delays up from Arena Drive now. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Partly cloudy skies today. We do have a slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon and a high of 89. Mostly cloudy tonight. A stray shower again possible. Low 69. Partly cloudy tomorrow. High 82. It's 68 right now at Reagan National. I'm John Matthews, 105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL.
Now, Chris Plante at AM 630.
Mr. Wentworth just told me to come in here and say that there was trouble at the mill, that's all. I didn't expect a kind of Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Our chief weapon is surprise. Surprise and fear. Fear and fun are two weapons. Our fear and surprise and ruthless efficiency are three weapons. Our fear and surprise and ruthless efficiency and an almost fanatical devotion to the Pope.
Or in this case, to Hillary Clinton, who will have to suffice as a substitute Pope for these purposes. Happy Thursday. Is it Thursday already? Or did it take this long to get to Thursday this week? It's been a wackadoodle week, hasn't it? We are at 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625. Alan Dershowitz, the lifelong Democrat, with a piece making some waves this morning, published in The Hill, a newspaper of some repute in Washington, D.C. Our investigations of Trump, the new McCarthyism, is the headline. And the Harvard Law professor emeritus, Alan Dershowitz, then holds forth, a man who knows whereof he speaks on a whole range of levels. And, of course, he's under attack because he's not singing from the party sheet music lately, and that's always a problem when you're a lifelong Democrat. They stop inviting you to parties at Martha's Vineyard. Step number one, which is where he's living now. So that's, a little bit of a problem. It's full of lefties, and they're utterly contemptuous of reality and the truth, and of course, of President Trump. It's an amazing time that we're living through. The Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Well, we've been cursed, that's for sure. Nancy Pelosi out there yesterday poisoning the well. She is the Poison Ivy character from the old Batman television series. And her pal, old Chuckles Schumer, who I'm mixing up cartoons here, he's the Snidely Whiplash of American politics. And then there's Jerry Nadler. He's the Penguin back to the We've got a fun audio collection that we'd like to play for you today. In fact, a couple of fun audio collections to play for you today, having to do with the attacks on President Trump, which are endless and require no facts. This is a great thing. You don't really even need a cogent accusation. You just throw out nebulous, slanderous smears. The news media takes it from there. That's their role in our society, to support the efforts of the Democratic Party. And I will demonstrate that for you today. It's an amazing thing to see what we're watching. What we're watching here is, in many ways, the dismantling of all that is right and all that is sane about America. A respect for human life, a respect for our nation, our borders, our sovereignty, our citizens and citizenship. It's remarkable what the Democrats have been able to do since Barack Obama came to town. We don't even know what gender is anymore. We have white people that say they're black, and the news media says, who are we to say they're not black if they think they're black? Who are we to say it's not a girl if he says he's a girl? Well, there's this biology thing, but pay no attention to that. So Poison Ivy and Chuck Schumer, Snidely Whiplash, that's Nancy Pelosi back there, Jerry Nadler as the penguin, and Jerry Mathers as the beaver. Old Michael Avenatti, looking at even more prison time now, he's the Democrat hero of CNN and Brian Seltzerwater. And now I guess he might still be running for president. He might as well jump in the race and get some more attention. Looking at more than 400 years in prison, more than 400 years. I do think that he should serve out his entire sentence, even long after death. We'll get to that. Democrats celebrating the release of the American Taliban. Remember this creepy boy? And he's going to be released early from prison. Maybe he could share an apartment with Bradley Chelsea Manning. That might not work out very well for Bradley Chelsea Manning, though, probably, because he is the Taliban, and he's praising ISIS, and we're going to let him go anyway because we're insane. We've lost our minds as a culture. We've transitioned seamlessly from Russian collusion into cover-up obstruction. And cover-up of what we still don't know, because not a single reporter has asked a single Democrat, even though dozens have used the exact same phrasing. And it's quite remarkable. The Democrats and the news media, but I repeat myself. Update on the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. Have you seen her? I think she might be a pygmy. Have you seen her standing next to an actual-sized person? It's almost confusing. You're wondering if there's some sort of a trick with the aspect ratio of the camera or something like that. But she refuses to accept security from the Chicago Police Department. She's going to hire a contractor. She's already hired a contractor. And then at great expense to the taxpayer of Chicago, already deeply in debt, they are going to provide private security to the mayor because I guess she doesn't trust the Chicago police. We'll get to that. Siri, I love the Siri story. The Siri story is almost hilarious. And of course, really, the Democrats here in Washington with the President of the United States under attack, the phony, corrupt news media. Lots of good stuff for you this morning. The other day, it was just earlier this week that I read from a story in the Washington Post, owned by Dr. Evil, the richest man in the world. It looks like a newspaper, but it's not. That's their slogan. Kind of strange. The headline this is from May 17th. May 17th. It is now, of course, May 23rd. So about a week ago. It was over the weekend, I guess. You may remember that Bill de Blasio announced that he was running for president of the United States as some sort of a prank, maybe a dinner table bet or something like that. Nobody's taking him seriously, and even he's not. And he announced, and he had a video where he attacked the president of the United States, and he said mean things about him. And then he went on CNN and MSNBC, and he said the same mean things about him. He said bad words, and he called him names. And then President Trump, predictably, responded to the attacks, okay? Now, that's after he called him, what did he call him? He called him all kinds of names, stupid names there. And fraud and a con man and con don and this stuff. And he's calling him all these names. And begging for a response from the president. And the president responded. And so the Washington Post published their article, Trump and de Blasio, the repository of all of their ideas. As New York City mayor enters the presidential race, Trump gives him the Bronx cheer. That's the headline. And then Cleve Wooten Jr. and Josh Dawsey, corrupt Democrats posing as reporters, typed on behalf of the party. Within minutes of New York Mayor Bill de Blasio declaring his presidential bid Thursday, President Trump attacked him. Now, see, they got that all out of sequence, right? You know what really happened was Bill de Blasio attacked President Trump in his video announcing he's running. Then he went on television with his buddies on the corrupt cable channels, and he called him names again. Then the president responded. But to Cleve Wooten Jr. and Josh Dawsey, that they don't understand sequences and cart before the horse and all of that stuff. So they just misrepresented in the headline and in the first sentence what had transpired. And it's going to be hard to believe, I know, but Trump is the bad guy and he's the villain in this. And he started it because even though he didn't, and that's not the sequence, doesn't matter. Now, Nancy Pelosi yesterday was scheduled to meet with President Trump at the White House along with Snidely Whiplash, her sidekick over there in the Senate, Chuck Schumer. And as they were headed to the motorcade of armored vehicles bristling with armed men, Nancy Pelosi stopped and said that the president is guilty of some kind of vague, nebulous, nameless, ill-defined crime.
We do believe that it's important to follow the facts. We believe that no one is above the law, including the President of the United States.
Yes, sure.
And we believe that the President of the United States is engaged in a cover-up.
He's engaged
in a cover-up.
In a cover-up, in a cover-up. She wasn't sure if she had said it the first time, so she wanted to make sure that she said it. In a cover-up, in a cover-up. She's Jimmy 2 times over here. And it's in a cover. You're going to get the papers. And in a cover-up, in a cover-up. So she blew up the whole meeting. Now she's headed over to the White House. It's live on television. The president is aware that she just threw this rock at him before driving up Pennsylvania Avenue to go to the meeting at the White House to talk about infrastructure. She blew it up, and then the president, when she got to the White House with Schumer, the president walked in, and I think it was the cabinet room, and gave him a heap and helping of what for. And said, look, if you're going to poison everything, then we're not going to deal with it. If you're just going to investigate and come out and accuse me of committing crimes based on nothing, then we're not going to be able to work and play well together, so you guys can go screw yourselves, is basically what happened. That's the thumbnail. All right, so Pelosi comes out, poisons it. They move down to the White House. The president yells at him. The president leaves. Here's the Washington Post lead. Trump storms out of talks. See, that's the starting point. Calls for end to Hill investigations. Subheadline. Pelosi fires back on failed infrastructure meeting. Now, see, that's not actually the sequence, but it's perfectly consistent with the crooks at the Washington Post. They had 4 girls from the steno pool, from the DNC steno pool, typing up this press release in the Washington Post. They had Mike DeBonis. I don't think that's his real name. That's his porn name. Rachel Bade, Josh Dawsey, him again, and John Wagner. I think he's a descendant of the... And here it begins. The feud between President Trump and congressional Democrats reached new heights of animosity Wednesday after Trump angrily walked out of a White House meeting on the nation's infrastructure. Now, that's not actually the sequence of events, but it's perfectly consistent with what the Washington Post does. It's what they do. The Democrats throw rocks. You would throw a rock back. It's like a hockey fight with a corrupt hockey referee or something. They start the fight. The news media acknowledges only the second punch, and they say the guy that throws the second punch goes to the penalty box. But it's not as though they didn't see the first punch. You see, they did. They know what happened, but they lie all the time. They lie big, they lie small, they misrepresent. It's amazing. Yes, indeed. And then he went to the Rose Garden and gave him a bit of what for. Now we've got some of that what for you. Also, by the way, the president walked out, but Pelosi and Schumer stayed there, and they talked about infrastructure with the Treasury Secretary and with Kellyanne Conway and other White House officials. Remained in the room as Pelosi did some venting of her own, according to 3 people familiar with the session, all of whom spoke on the condition of anonymity to share details of the meeting. Everybody's a liar in this city. Okay, they're just sneaking around like weasels. Meanwhile, the infrastructure meeting went on without him. You see, the president walked out. Try to find that reported on CNN or the Washington Post or MSNBC or any of those other places. So Nancy Pelosi came out on her way to the White House and blew up relations with the White House by throwing out this really vague, again, a cover-up. He's guilty of it. Well, first of all, how can you be guilty of it? What are you covering up? Well, it's a cover-up. And this is all they say. And then the news media goes with that. President Trump went to the Rose Garden. He was having none of this.
Instead of walking in happily into a meeting, I walk in to look at people that had just said that I was doing a cover-up. I don't do cover-ups.
I don't do cover-ups. Wait till you hear what Joe Lockhart had to say about that one. President Trump responding after the non-meeting with the Democrats who poisoned it. She's Poison Ivy. Who poisoned it, blew up the whole thing. And then the news media, faithful lapdogs that they are, come out and misrepresent what happened. Pelosi poisoned it. Trump predictably responded. And the news media predictably licks Democrats and peas on the leg of the nearest Republican. It's what they do.
You can go down the investigation track, and you can go down the investment track, or the track of let's get things done for the American people.
Nah, come on, don't be ridiculous. We're not going to do that.
I walked into the room, and I told Senator Schumer, Speaker Pelosi, I want to do infrastructure. But you know what? You can't do it under these circumstances. So get these phony investigations over with.
And the news media is up in arms. How dare the president blow up this meeting? I mean, again, it's almost impossible to believe how corrupt the Washington Post is, CNN is. But believe it. Believe it. It is almost impossible to. If you're new to this dance and you're listening to me, you're saying, well, the CNN is telling the truth. They've got a panel of 4 Trump-hating Democrats screaming about things all morning long this morning. Turn to MSNBC, a panel of 6 or 8 Trump-hating Democrats screaming, maybe one Trump-hating Republican, screaming about this, and not a single one of them actually lays out the obvious truth, the sequence of what happened yesterday. It would be helpful, but our media is not helpful. Let me hear the audio I have today. Some pretty remarkable stuff. I think you're going to like it. And a couple of productions for you as well. We put on a show.
There's only one Chris Plante. The Chris Plante Show. Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Genesis of Gaithersburg has a message for you. Don't just consider the run-of-the-mill luxury car everyone drives. Make your mark. Choose the Genesis Experience. Finally, a luxury car with an experience of transparency and trust. Luxury has a new standard, the Fitzway. The Genesis Experience means we are at your service. Come see why smart consumers are choosing a different luxury vehicle. Visit FitzgeraldGenesisGaithersburg.com.
That's the Fitzway.
I work harder than most everyone in the company, but I haven't advanced. I know it's because of my teeth.
I just wanted to smile for my grandkids. They always see me with a frown, but that's not the real me.
I rarely talk face-to-face with people because, my teeth make my breath unpleasant.
I'm Dr. Ruperelli from the Cascade Center for Dental Health. Every day we hear the stories about missing or damaged teeth holding people back. We know what bad teeth can do to an individual's psyche, self-esteem, and overall health, and we're ready to help with a state-of-the-art facility and our revolutionary full-mouth dental implant restoration procedure called Cascades One. A full set of permanent teeth in as little as 1 day, with one doctor in one office and one price. Cascades never upcharges for the very best materials. Our team understands what you're going through and has helped hundreds who improve their lives. Let us help you.
The Cascade Center for Dental Health in Sterling is Washington, D.C.'s premier implant and restoration center. To see our many success stories, visit cascades1.com or call 866-25-SLEEP.
University of Maryland University College salutes the members of our military who inspire us with their unwavering commitment to service. Like alumnus Jake Messier. When Jake joined the Marines, he promised his dad he'd finish his college education. As a combat correspondent, traveling to 43 countries, he covered stories about his fellow service members. During his last assignment in Tokyo, he made good on his promise, completing a bachelor's degree from UMUC. At age 45, continuing his commitment to serving others, he founded Olderpreneur Coach, a consulting service for older entrepreneurs, and Herd Strategy and Storytelling, a marketing firm that created jobs for furloughed employees during the recent government shutdown. Celebrate National Military Appreciation Month with University of Maryland University College. Join us in honoring those who serve. Give a shout out to a service member today at hashtag UMUCMilitary or read more stories at umuc.edu/military appreciation. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The saying, having a roof over your head, signifies the shelter and safety it provides for you and your family. So when it's time to replace your roof, protect what matters most to you with GAF, America's #1 roof from the experts at Roofing and More. Hey, it's Chris Plante, and Roofing and More's Master Elite certification as a GAF contractor means they're among the most experienced in the country. And since more homes and businesses in the U.S. are protected by a GAF roof than by any other product, you can be confident you're working with the best. So call Roofing and More at 703-467-0206. That's 703-467-0206. Online at roofingandmoreinc.com. That's roofingandmoreinc.com. When you expect more, you get more. Roofing and More.
Roofing and More. What's the more for? Windows, siding, gutters, and doors.
It's the 30th anniversary of the National Memorial Day Concert. Join me, Joe Mantegna, and my co-host, Mary McCormick, with Sam Elliott, Hattie LaBelle, Allison Krauss, Dennis Haysbert, and General Colin Powell. It's a time to come together to honor our troops, our veterans, and our military families. The National Memorial Day Concert, Sunday, May 26th, 8, 7 Central, only on PBS. Sponsored by Lockheed Martin Corporation, USAA, and American Airlines.
Everyone knows that even good people fall on hard times. Your credit cards get maxed out, and you get behind on your taxes. Unfortunately, the IRS is not as understanding, and they won't stop until they collect. They have the power to take your paycheck, freeze your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk. It's simply not worth it to take on the IRS by yourself. You need to call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. When you call, be sure to ask about the Fresh Start Initiative. It's a special IRS tax debt assistance program that could save you thousands, even tens of thousands. Optima will immediately provide you with a team of professionals who could protect you from the IRS, ensuring that you get the best possible outcome. The Better Business Bureau has awarded them an A+ rating, and you will too. So put the hard times behind you and call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-367-6289. 800-367-6289. 800-367-6289.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Breaking news and the inside story 24/7 on Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Oh, and rats are taking over New York City, according to the New York Times. You'll never guess what the reasons are, though. They have the reasons. They figured it out. They know the answers. And if you believe them, you will wander around bumping into poles like a jellyfish for the rest of your life. Let's go to Kate, calling from Manassas, Virginia. Kate, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Kate.
I just wanted to tell you that we forgive you for working for CNN. You were young, and you were just trying to find your way to us.
I was confused. I barely knew what my gender was at that point.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, thank you.
Now, all these Democrats that are screaming so loud, they are so afraid because they don't know what's going to happen. They expected a certain result out of the report, and they didn't get it. Now, the D class is coming, and they don't know what's in that, and they're terrified.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Trump is just busy. He's waiting while they name all their own crimes. It's like a mirror. And when they're done naming them all, then he can just turn it right around and say, you just said what you all did, and here's proof of it. It's just, he's just so busy doing other things. He's restructuring the Ninth Circuit. He's working on the border slowly but surely, silently.
And with stiff opposition from pretty much everybody in Washington.
Well, that's why he was elected, because he's really stands alone. Well, with us, we were alone, and now we have him, which makes us so strong, because he's got, well, the gonads or whatever, pardon my French,
to
do something, and he's very busy, and he really doesn't have time for these games, and everyone says, oh, you're not doing anything, but he is doing so much, his accomplishments, no one even knows what he's
Well,
the man doesn't sleep.
I was scoffing at DNC TV this morning with the Pigeon Sisters and that bouffant-wearing Doris Day impersonator, and he said, well, Trump has nothing to run on. They've got nothing. He's got no accomplishments. I'm like, well, the economy and Wall Street and tax reform and prison reform and the unemployment rates at record lows for nearly record low for America, record lows for African Americans, for Hispanics, for women, for high school dropouts, for, I think, for immigrants, record low immigration. We have this teeming economy. He's restructuring trade agreements that have been detrimental to the economy of the United States, and we've all just sat here and accepted it for decades now. The ISIS, the dismantling of ISIS, the destruction of ISIS, they grew from an apartment in Aleppo to 28 countries or something under Barack Obama, massacring the world. No accomplishments to speak of.
This is the Chris Plante Show. WMAL FM Woodbridge, WMAL Washington. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL Washington. A Cumulus station where Washington comes to talk. News now.
WMAL News at 10:30. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Matthews. The news brought to you by Shipped. The first U.S.-born detainee in the war on terror is now a free man. John Walker Lind, who was captured in Afghanistan fighting for the Taliban in 2001, was released from a federal prison in Indiana after serving 17 years of a 20-year prison term. Lind's next stop, living in Northern Virginia. 3 people were killed by tornadoes in southwest Missouri overnight, and another twister tore through the state's capital, Jefferson City. Dozens of residents are trapped in their homes by damage, and officers are making door-to-door checks. Governor Mike Parson says the damage is devastating. Fairfax County Police are searching North Hill Park in the Hybla Valley area for a body. Officers spent hours yesterday combing through the heavily wooded area, following up on a possible tip. So far, they found nothing. Traffic and weather next.
Want convenience? Shipped delivers fresh hand-picked groceries and household essentials, all from stores you trust, in as soon as 1 hour. For exclusive offers and more, visit Shipped.com and find available retailers in your neighborhood. That's SHIPT.com. They bring the store to your door.
WMAL traffic and weather. Steve Hirschhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
And we're on the Beltway now. The inner loop is still pretty slow from 66 up to 123, and then across the Legion Bridge into Montgomery County. Outer loop before the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. It was an accident on the shoulder. That has you slow all the way up for Route 4 Pennsylvania Avenue. Outer loop is also still pretty heavy, 270 spur to the George Washington Parkway. 66 lingering volume, Nutley Street to the Beltway. Southbound 95 in Virginia. Roadwork before Dale City until noon, slowing you down from 123. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Partly cloudy skies today. We'll have a slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon and a high of 89. Mostly cloudy tonight, a shower possible, low 69. 68 right now at Reagan National. I'm John Matthews, 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
Now, it's time for the Media Research Center's Newsbusters Story of the Day.
From newsbusters.org, and today's headline reads, Study, Media Hiding the Facts on Ongoing Immigration Crisis. You know, a new poll shows that most Americans actually underestimate the number of illegal aliens coming into the country each month illegally. And it's no wonder. The people at Newsbusters looked at every ABC, CBS, and NBC evening news broadcast from January 1st through May 15th of this year and found that less than 1/10 of immigration stories even mentioned that border crossings are at an 11-year high. Sharing that might just lead people to think we have a crisis at the border. But we can't have that, can we? No, we can't. That's our news media. That's the Media Research Center's Newsbusters Story of the Day. For all the details, do what I do every day and visit newsbusters.org.
Dr. Jeffrey Grammer for Greenbrook TMS.
Having treated depression for over 20 years, I know how overwhelming it can be. Every day for treating depression, TMS therapy is so transformative in patients' lives. It can be life-altering in a way that they've really, for some, never have experienced before.
Greenbrook TMS, the nation's leading TMS therapy provider, gives patients a safe and effective treatment for depression.
TMS therapy can plug into an existing treatment plan and allow what may not have worked before to become effective. So when they come in and we can bring them back from that depressive place and allow them to engage with their family and their friends and the world around them, it's so rewarding to help them finally start to live their lives without the shackles and anchor of depression.
Covered by most insurance. Schedule a free consultation for you or a loved one at greenbrooktms.com. Greenbrook TMS, we're here to help.
If you're shopping for appliances, go to a drugstore for some aspirin. Or shop the Bray way at Bray & Scarf. We take the pain out of appliance shopping with the answers you need and the attention you deserve. Our customer service isn't business, it's personal. Our appliance experts know more so that you can know more. We're the area's #1 local and independent appliance retailer with premium brands like Sub-Zero and Wolf. Shop local at Bray & Scarf, where it doesn't cost more to get more.
Save now and save big on the appliances you need at the Bray & Scarf Memorial Day Sale with exclusive deals you won't find anywhere else, like double rebates on select GE Profile packages, not just $400, but $800 back, plus free basic installation on select GE Profile wall ovens, cooktops, and dishwashers. If you need appliances, the time to save is now. Shop local at any of Bray & Scarf's 14 locations or go to brayandscarf.com, where it doesn't cost more to get more.
Weeknights with Mark Levin, 6 to 9 p.m. on Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Yeah. Hey, the American Taliban, John Walker Lind, has been released from prison. He's on the loose. He's the guy that left America to go join the Taliban so he could murder the infidels. We caught him on the battlefield when CIA officer Johnny Michael Spann was murdered by the troglodytes from hell. And we captured him on the battlefield. He was given 20 years in prison. But apparently, good Taliban behavior, good ISIS behavior is something we're letting him out early. And good news for people in the Washington metropolitan area. This sounds like a great idea. He's moving to Northern Virginia. Hey, just outside of Washington, D.C. We got another jihadi. He praised ISIS and the good work that ISIS was doing. But the Federal Bureau of Prisons this morning confirmed that Lind was no longer in custody. He's free. He's on the loose. Sure. The American Taliban pleaded guilty to fighting the former militia leaders of Afghanistan after the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. I remember them well. He was released from federal prison in Indiana today, and now he's on the loose. He did, in fact, fairly recently praise ISIS, the Islamic State. They are savages that dismember people with dull implements. And I think that we should ask Nancy Pelosi how she feels about this. I think she's probably in favor, but she's surrounded by armed security, so it's a little bit different for her than it is for the rest of us. Moving to Northern Virginia. Hey, 17 years, 20 years, what's the diff? He survived in prison all these. In fact, he was proselytizing in prison all those years. The cause of radical Islam. It's not like he gave up Islam. He continued to promote radical Islamic jihadi values in prison. So that ought to pay off in the long term, I think. Don't you think? Don't you think, Michael? I think so. Ought to be good. So the Democrats are now claiming, that whole Russia collusion thing, and we're going to trust the Mueller report and the findings of the Mueller report, and then we're going to move on. That was all a lie. Everything was a lie. There was no Russian collusion. The investigation was a fake. They used Hillary Clinton's opposition research. The news media pretending that's not the case. It is the case. Let's do a little bit of audio. Let's go to soundbite number 5. Adam Shifless, a.k.a. the Inchworm. And what is he in your thing? Is he the Riddler? I think he might be the Riddler. Adam Schiffless, this was months before the Mueller report. It was just a couple months before the Mueller report came out. Adam Schiffless talking to his friends in the news media on Capitol Hill.
I certainly accept that the prosecutorial judgment of Bob Mueller is sound. I've said all along that we would accept whatever conclusions he reaches as a prosecutor.
Accept whatever conclusions he reaches as a prosecutor. He was lying about that just as he lied about everything else for 2 years. CNN facilitated his lies. CNN doesn't, and he's on there every day. It's like he has his own office at CNN. And he comes on and he lies constantly. And nobody ever says, but, Congressman, everything you've said for the last 2 years was wrong, up to and including and the. And you said you would accept the findings of the Mueller report, and you obviously haven't. And you said that you had secret evidence of collusion, and that you knew it to be true because you had seen, as the chair of the Intelligence Committee, secret intelligence that the rest of us couldn't see. So you knew that it was true. And all of that turned out to be false. None of it was true. And it looks like you've been telling untruths all this time, Congressman. But nobody at CNN has done that. Not a one. Not a single person. Which means they're not a news organization. Not at all. Now, here's another one. I like this one. This was from the same moment. He was going around saying, and he said it, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of times or something. He said it again and again, dozens of times, that he knew that the president was guilty because he had seen secret stuff. And he told us, he reassured the anchors at CNN who are not in the news business, he assured them again and again that the evidence was in plain sight of Russian collusion, you see. The evidence was in plain sight. He kept telling us. And nobody in the news media, again, it's like Batman and the Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara getting a message from one of Batman's nemesis with a riddle in it. And it's hiding in plain sight, Commissioner. And what is it? Nobody ever says, well, you say it's hiding in plain sight. What the hell are you talking about? Nobody ever asks them that because they're not really in the business of doing that. Here's Adam Schiffless.
I've also said that there is a big difference between whether there's evidence of collusion, and I think that evidence is in plain sight.
That's right, whether there was evidence of collusion, and I think that evidence was in plain sight. See, that was before the Mueller report came out. Well, it wasn't in plain sight, and it wasn't in the Mueller report because there wasn't any evidence of collusion, and there wasn't any collusion, and it's been investigated to death, and it's over. And the lion Sacagawea, Adam Schiffless, the inchworm, said that he would accept the findings of the Mueller report. It was just one more lie from him. And he said that the evidence was in plain sight. Now, and it wasn't, and it wasn't hiding either because there wasn't any. So he was lying. There's one 15-second clip of audio, and he lied twice. All right? It's actually 18-second clip of audio. I had to check. 18 seconds, and he lied twice. And CNN is not going to call him on this today or tomorrow or next year or at any time, even though he said these things repeatedly on CNN. They're fine with Democrats coming on and lying for years every day, and they never check them. That's just not what they do. Now, they've shifted the so-called narrative from Russian collusion now to what Nancy Pelosi says is a cover-up. And not a single dim-witted, dishonest reporter says, a cover-up of what? I mean, wouldn't that seem like an obvious thing to ask? That's as somebody runs into your house hysterical and says, there's been an accident. You might say, an accident where? But people at CNN wouldn't. They'd sit there and they'd say, there's been an accident. And then they'd make a sandwich. And they'd go to the store and say, but there's been an accident. Yeah, I know there's been an accident. That's it. They're like jellyfish. They have the intelligence of jellyfish. Some jellyfish are fairly smart. And Nancy Pelosi, this is Nancy Pelosi yesterday, talking about, again, there's Adam Schiffless saying all the evidence of Russian collusion is in plain sight, in plain sight. Now Pelosi is saying there's a cover-up of some kind. Of what? We don't know, but that doesn't matter because nobody's going to ask. Nancy Pelosi yesterday, it's all this stuff is in plain sight.
The fact is, in plain sight, in the public domain, this president is obstructing justice, and he's engaged in a cover-up. And that could be an impeachable offense.
That's right. It's an impeachable offense. Cover-up. Cover-up of what? Cover-up of obstruction of justice. What's the obstruction of justice? Because I believe Mueller investigated that for 2 years at a cost of millions of dollars with thousands of witnesses and millions of pages of testimony, and he did not conclude that there was obstruction of justice. He did suggest the Attorney General take a look at that. The Attorney General took a look at that, along with the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, confirmed Trump hater. They consulted the Office of Legal Counsel at the Department of Justice, and they found as a group that there was not enough there to charge the president with obstruction of justice. And the Attorney General made it clear that it had nothing to do with whether the president was the president. Nothing to do with that. He made that clear in the 4-page letter to Congress. Never mind that. And listen to this Nixon stuff. They love Nixon. Now, Nancy Pelosi is talking about how the president is ignoring subpoenas. Well, he is. They're in a constitutional battle between the White House and the Congress. And these things happen. Last time it happened was in the last administration, the Obama administration, where Eric Holder, the Attorney General, was held in contempt of Congress in a situation where they were funneling guns to Mexican drug cartels that were used to kill at least one U.S. federal agent, Brian Terry. Not that the anchors at CNN are familiar with that story, because they're not. Nancy Pelosi.
Ignoring the subpoenas of Congress was Article 3 of the Nixon impeachment.
Yeah, it was the Article 3, ignoring the that really, now the Obama administration ignored subpoenas from Congress, and that's wonderful stuff. Now, Nancy Pelosi once again insists, the Democrats are now insisting again, we're going to get this for 2 more years, and our corrupt, phony, baloney news media is not going to straighten it out, even though that's their job. That's why God put them, or as they say, why dog put them on this earth. Dog is their co-pilot. Now, what does the news media do? Nancy Pelosi says, cover up, cover up, cover up, cover up. So the news media then jumps in at that point, and they like, Nancy, what can we parrot for you? What can we parrot for you today? We parroted Russian collusion for 2 years. Now we're going to, without ever asking what the cover-up is of, we're going to parrot the cover-up thing for you. And how can we dutifully serve the Democratic Party? Our friends in the news media, just in the last, less than 24 hours.
He's engaged in a cover-up.
He is willing to essentially cover up everything.
To cover up
is a cover-up.
And accusing the president of a cover-up.
Being engaged in a cover-up.
In a cover-up today.
The cover-up.
Accuse him of a cover-up.
A cover-up. He is directly refuting the cover-up.
Engaging in the cover-up.
A president that has covered up.
There seems to be evidence of a cover-up.
The president tried to come out and just cover up the cover-up.
I don't do cover-ups.
Cover up the cover-up. A number of those were Democrat members of Congress invited on Democrat channels to spew Democrat talking points. And not a single one of these subhuman people, not a single one of them challenged a single Democrat or the theory, well, cover-up of what exactly? I mean, it's like a Twilight Zone episode. It is Billy Mummy turning people into ears of corn. And they just parrot, yeah, that's real good. Cover-up is real good. That's real good. Isn't that good? Then CNN invited as they do pretty much every day, a former CNN assignment editor, a former Bill Clinton spokesman at the Bill Clinton White House, a former acquaintance of mine. Joe Lockhart was on the television this morning on CNN, and they love this Nixon Watergate stuff. Honestly, Barack Obama did use the IRS against his political enemies. It appears that Barack Obama used the FBI, the CIA, the Justice Department, the intelligence apparatus against his political enemies. Barack Obama targeted and assassinated American citizens overseas, names he chose from his kill list that he maintained in the Oval Office. And I promise you there's not a single anchor at CNN that could tell you what that kill list was called. But Nixon was the real bad guy. Most of these people were not even born when Nixon was president, but they know that Nixon was the real bad guy here. By the way, strategic arms limitation talks, got us out of Vietnam that the Democrats got us into, carried us through after all the assassinations and the riots in '68 and the war. And hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today? Open relations, détente with the Soviet Union, relations with China that created the EPA, an incredibly consequential and important president, and much more important and much better president than Barack Obama will ever be in the history books. Joe Lockhart on CNN this morning. Nixon now more than ever.
It's 40 years later, and
how many?
Actually, it's even longer than 40 years later. There's a soundbite that Americans will always remember, which is Richard Nixon saying, "I am not a crook."
Which was
what we'll remember out of yesterday when all the dust clears is Donald Trump standing there saying, "I don't do cover-ups," because the next 18 months are going to show that he does do cover-ups, and he is going to have to live with that line.
Yeah. Well, you see, the president said yesterday, I don't do cover-up. So now CNN is, well, this is it. This is the legacy-making moment. Nixon said, I'm not a crook. These are the same clowns that for the last 2 years have been shrieking Russian collusion, Russian collusion. Now, how many times, if you're still being fooled by this, how willing to be deceived are you? You seem to be eager. If you're still buying this, now there was no Russian collusion. I mean, you're like a cartoon character throwing stacks of paper into the air, jumping out of a chair and sprinting into the wall, falling over like a 4x4. You're a clown. You're being played. You're being worked by professional liars. Here's Wolf Blitzer on CNN yesterday with Adam Shifless, because, it's all about the cover-up now. Forget about he had evidence of Russian collusion. He had secret evidence. He said it over and over again. The evidence was in plain sight of Russian collusion. There was no Russian collusion. At what point, Charlie Brown in the football, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. How many times are you willing to gobble up the lies, lap up the lies, like the vomit-slurping lapdogs that you are?
For the first time today, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the Trump administration, the President of the United States, is engaged in a cover-up.
Of what?
Do you agree?
Do you agree?
Absolutely agree with that.
That's unpredictable.
It's hard to look at the Mueller report and reach any other conclusion. Whether you consider it a crime or not, and I think it was, these multiple acts by the President to obstruct justice, to discourage people from cooperating with authorities, to reward people who refuse to cooperate, all of that is properly described as a cover-up.
As a cover-up of what? As a cover-up of what? Wolf, try asking a question. Wolf is a friend of mine. Try asking a pertinent question, at least perhaps in the past tense. It's hard to say now that I do what I do. I tell the truth. That doesn't put me in good with the boys around town, Just try asking it. But you keep saying cover up. Doesn't there, isn't there something to cover up? What are you covering up? What, Russian collusion? Obstruction of justice. Well, that's been litigated, girls. That's been dealt with. Wolf, try saying this. But it was addressed by the Mueller report. It's in Section 2. You have the opportunity to go down and view a virtually unredacted version of the Mueller report. Have you done that, Congressman? Here's the answer. He has not. Well, how can you say you're just out here throwing rocks, but you have nothing to back this up? See, this is how a journalistic interview would go. Other than, Trump is a terrible person. Do you agree? I do agree, Wolf. That's the interview. Who was doing that other interview there? Trump is engaged in a cover-up. Do you agree? I do agree that he's engaged in a cover-up. What's he covering up? Oh, it's in plain sight. And then we're back to square one and we start over again. We all go home and we do it again tomorrow.
Fool me once. Shame on you. You fool me, you can't get fooled again.
You're listening to The Chris Plante Show.
Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
The Chris Plante Show is brought to you by the Big Screen Store.
The Big Screen Store's Cash Back Memorial Day event. Get 15% cash back on Samsung's most popular TVs only at the Big Screen Store. Whoa! That's up to $900 in savings. The Big Screen Store. at the Big Screen Store. Our prices beat Best Buy and online, guaranteed. Plus, we double the Samsung warranty, and you get delivery and installation installed by pros on your schedule. Not even Amazon can do that. The Big Screen Store. The Big Screen Store is your motion furniture headquarters with innovative furniture featuring power headrests, full power recline, USB ports, lighting and accessories, power lumbar support, plus an incredible selection. The Big Screen Store. The Big Screen Store's Cash Back Memorial Day event. Get 15% cash back on Samsung's most popular TVs only at the Big Screen Store. Whoa! That's up to $900 in savings. The Big Screen Store.
Fast, reliable internet. Is that important to your business?
We couldn't work without it.
At Comcast Business, we go beyond fast with amazing solutions and a great deal.
What kind of solutions?
Well, how about automatic 4G LTE backup for complete reliability?
I like the sound of that. What else?
Powerful Wi-Fi that keeps your employees connected, and bandwidth you can allocate between your customers and employees.
I didn't know Comcast Business did that.
Oh, I'm not done yet. Advanced voice solutions at affordable prices. How about business TV that keeps customers entertained?
Okay, I'm convinced. But didn't you say something about a great deal?
Right now, get started with 25 megabit internet for $39.95 per month for 2 years when you add one voice mobility line. Plus, get free installation. Call 1-800-501-6000 today. Comcast Business. Beyond fast.
Offer ends 7/7/19. Restrictions apply. New business customers only. 2-year agreement required. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Subject to change. Backup limited to up to 8 hours.
Hey, it's Chris Plante. Listen, if you're back in the singles market, don't be distracted by all the online dating apps and algorithms. The truth is, finding a real connection in person works so much better. And that's what the professional matchmakers at It's Just Lunch do for you. Imagine having a dedicated recruiter for your dating life who guarantees you will go out on dates. Well, that's exactly what It's Just Lunch promises. First, they get to know you. Then they get you on real dates with other educated professionals in a fun and safe environment. Could be lunch, could be drinks after work. The point is, finding a real connection today requires professional personal expertise. So take control of your dating life today. Call them at 202-466-6699. That's 202-466-6699. Or visit itsjustllunchdc.com. It's Just Lunch. Connection awaits with guaranteed dates.
Dinner was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
The house seems bigger than before. Well, we did get an additional bedroom and a 2-car garage. I'll bet that was expensive. Not at all.
Let me show you the space.
Oh, this is huge.
And they didn't charge you an arm and a leg? Give me the number of these miracle workers. It's 1-800-1-800-GOT. G-O-T-J-U-N-K. J-U-N-K. 1-800-GOT-JUNK?
We thought we needed a bigger house.
Then we realized we just needed to get rid of all the junk we had been storing.
Honey?
Yes, dear?
Don't lose that number.
All you have to do is point.
We work until midnight, 7 days a week. And we can be there in 90 minutes.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Hey, I just heard that people at my friend's company got sextortion emails.
Yeah, it's a popular type of spear phishing attack.
Wow, that sounds serious.
It is. Scammers claim to have a compromising video of the victim and threaten to share it with their contact list unless they pay a ransom.
What if they target someone at our company?
We're secured with Barracuda Sentinel. It uses artificial intelligence to block spear phishing attacks, including sextortion emails.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Would you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
I have Alan Dershowitz on the neo-McCarthyites that are the Democrat Party. Their witch hunts. Interesting op-ed, a piece written by Alan Dershowitz, lifelong Democrat, Harvard Law professor emeritus, now on the outs with his own party because he's got this thing for the truth, and they most decidedly do not. Lindsey Graham is a Republican senator. He's been doing a lot better lately, I think everyone would agree. He was last night on the Fox News channel where he talked about the investigations that the Democrats have launched. Alan Dershowitz calling it modern McCarthyism. That's generous understatement. Lindsey Graham last night talking about how this is going to blow up. It's once again, it's the hunt for Red October torpedo coming back at the Democrats in their Soviet submarine.
You can say this any way you would like, but here's the bottom line. After 2 years of a political rectal exam, nobody's been looked at more than Trump. They found nothing. But the answer for the Democrats is Trump's got to go. They will not beat him at the ballot box. If they try to impeach him, they're going to ensure his reelection. I want the American people to know that Bob Mueller did his job. He looked at Trump every way you could look at Trump, and he found nothing. And this is just political revenge. It's going to blow up in their face, and I can't wait to 2020.
I can't wait to 2020. And that was pretty good. He gets a little ferocious from time to time, doesn't he? A 2-year rectal exam. I believe he called it a 2-year rectal exam, which I see the Democrats think that might be pleasurable. I think most of them think that might be a good time. That's what they do on Martha's Vineyard. Why do you think they all flock to Martha's Vineyard all summer long? Go to Hot Tin Roof, have the 2-week rectal exam. They enjoy that. Ensure his reelection. Bring on 2020. Lindsey Graham is on a tear. I got a little media. I got a list. I got Rats in New York and Michael Avenatti in Chicago. I've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up, too.
WMAL FM Woodbridge, WMAL Washington. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL Washington. A Cumulus station where Washington comes to talk. News now.
WMAL News at 11. Good morning. I'm John Matthews. With President Trump and congressional Democrats stuck in their tracks on cooperation versus investigation, one of the president's biggest supporters is trying to be a voice of reason.
I talked to Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina yesterday. He told me, look, I understand what the president's going through, but I need him to rise above and try to get some things done because there's a long list of items ahead.
Correspondent Lauren Fox, for its part, the White House still wants the investigations to go away.
I talked to Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina yesterday. He told me, look, I understand what the president's going through, but I need him to rise above and try to get some.
We know there was no collusion. At this point, I don't see any purpose for Congress to be looking at these financial documents except to try and harass the president for the next year and a half and 4 years after that.
Deputy Communications Director Adam Kennedy tells WMAL's Mornings on the Mall the president will move his agenda forward through executive action if he has to. The Prince George's County Department of Corrections is facing questions after releasing illegal immigrant teens who were later accused of murder.
Josue Fuentes Ponce and Joel Escobar were arrested in 2018 on attempted murder charges. They both had ICE detainers out against them, but were released anyway, allowing them to kill Ariana Funes Diaz. Mary Lou McDonough with the Department of Corrections says after trials,
Ponce was released by the juvenile system.
Her department released Escobar after he was convicted of conspiracy to commit robbery and sentenced to time served. Why didn't they tell ICE he was being released?
We contact ICE on only the most serious crimes.
And robbery doesn't qualify. Heather Curtis on WMAL and WMAL.com.
A new boathouse along the Virginia shore of the Potomac River is one step closer to reality.
After a decades-long battle, the Arlington County Board has now voted to advance the plans for a public boathouse in Roslyn.
On Virginia's Potomac River shoreline, it's just south of the Key Bridge.
Mary Claire Burek is the president of the Roslyn Business Improvement District.
We're very excited that we have crossed this important milestone in the longer-term project of adding this non-motorized boathouse in Arlington and right here in Roslyn.
Bjork says the boathouse will give local residents direct access to the Potomac. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
The National Zoo opens a new exhibit today honoring a national treasure, Smokey Bear, who's celebrating his 75th year as the figurehead of the nation's campaign to prevent wildfires. What many people don't know is there was a real Smokey Bear who was rescued from a forest fire in New Mexico in 1950 and lived at the National Zoo until his death in 1976, and longtime WMAL listeners will remember who gave Smokey his original voice on television, broadcast legend Jackson Weaver.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
An exhaustive study of the Vietnam Memorial Wall has documented dozens of errors among the more than 58,000 names etched in granite. Among them, 13 soldiers who were listed twice, one listed 3 times, scores of misspellings, and at least 25 names of soldiers who actually survived the war. Coming up, traffic and weather on WMAL.
It's the 30th anniversary of the National Memorial Day Concert. Join me, Joe Mantegna, and my co-host, Mary McCormick, with Sam Elliott, Patti LaBelle, Alison Krauss, Dennis Haysbert, and General Colin Powell. It's a time to come together to honor our troops, our veterans, and our military families. The National Memorial Day Concert, Sunday, May 26th, 8, 7 Central, only on PBS. Sponsored by Lockheed Martin Corporation, USAA, and American Airlines.
So you sit down and you do your budget, and you look at all your monthly costs, your bills, your income, and it seems like there's never quite enough. You know what would help, what would really help? Finding $500 a month to help balance things out. And that is the typical savings, $500 a month for a family when you switch to Medi-Share for your health care. Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, and it works. No wonder more than 400,000 people are doing this now. And look, whether you're single or married or you have kids, this can make sitting down to do a monthly budget a lot more fun. Just think what you could do with $500 a month. It can cover a car payment or pay back loans or whatever. Join Medi-Share and go out to dinner to celebrate. Find out more. The Medi-Share people are so easy to talk to. They can answer any questions. They're super friendly. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
If you have experienced personal trauma and are battling an addiction, the Maryland Center for Addiction Treatment can help you. Their certified trauma-informed staff will develop a treatment plan that works for you. Call today, 1-800-RECOVERY.
11:05 at WMAL. Traffic and weather. Here's Steve Hirshhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Heading west on 66, it was a broken-down vehicle after the Fairfax County Parkway, sitting in the right lane in delays from Route 50 Fair Oaks, heading out toward the Fairfax County Parkway. 95 southbound in Virginia. Road work until noon today in the left lane is after Dale City. Delays down from Lorton now on southbound 95. 395 is going to be the road work both ways. Near Duke Street, the left lane is blocked both north and southbound. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
We'll have partly cloudy skies today, a slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon and a high of 89. Mostly cloudy tonight. We will have a stray shower possible and a low of 69. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow, high 82. It's 71 right now at Reagan National. I'm John Matthews, 105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL.
Now, Chris Plante at AM 630.
Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency?
The famous finale of the Joseph McCarthy hearings on Capitol Hill here in our nation's capital. Many years ago, lo those generations ago, but here we go again. Those who do not know history are condemned to repeat it. Happy Thursday. We are at 888-630-9625. Absolutely toll-free to you, our valued listeners. Alan Dershowitz in The Hill today in Washington, D.C. Are Trump investigations Are investigations of Trump the new McCarthyism? He writes, when I came of age during the 1950s, liberals and civil libertarians were deeply concerned about the abuses of congressional investigations to expose communists and fellow travelers. Republican Senator Joseph McCarthy of Wisconsin was using congressional committees to do his dirty work. Now, let me just pause here for a second. They still love, liberals still love to bash McCarthy for this Red Scare, the witch hunt. If you're a communist in the 1950s in the United States, you had to be completely out of your flippin' mind. Now, from the 1930s to the 1950s, just in the Soviet Union alone, they slaughtered, 30 million human beings? They make ISIS and the Taliban look like the Red Cross. They make it look like a hospital group. They make it look like a charitable organization. The communists are the biggest butchers in the history of humankind, bar none. Hands down. Nobody comes close. And if you declared yourself to be a communist back then, you had to be insane and dangerous. And if you worked in the government, I'd say that would be a problem. Now, moving on from the first paragraph. The committee leaders would claim they had legitimate legislative purpose in subpoenaing actors, professors, and government employees to interrogate them about their past political affiliations. Again, if you found somebody was a supporter of the Taliban or Al-Qaeda at this point, it would be comparable, except the Taliban, the Al-Qaeda, and ISIS haven't killed nearly as many people. Not even in the same neighborhood, not in the same time zone, honestly. The purported purposes were to legislate more effective controls over communist influence in our government. That seems like a good idea. And to conduct oversight of the executive branch. Most liberals and civil libertarians saw through this ruse. Really? We shouldn't have been concerned about communists at the State Department? And there were. The obvious purpose was to expose, embarrass, and unemploy left-wing individuals associated with the Communist Party during the 1930s. That is a noble pursuit and a legitimate pursuit. He then goes on to say, back in the day, virtually all liberals and civil libertarians led by the ACLU wanted to impose restrictions on the power of Congress to investigate, subpoena, and question individuals for partisan ideological purposes. Now, Dershowitz says, the shoe is on the other foot. It is the Democrats who are abusing their congressional investigations for partisan and ideological purposes. It is the Democrats who are putting forward the phony arguments about legislative purposes, such as the need for new laws and congressional oversight. It is the Democrats in the House of Representatives who are determined to misuse their legislative power to gain advantages in the upcoming elections. See, this is why Dershowitz is no longer invited to parties at Martha's Vineyard, because all of that is true. Now, the McCarthyism you could debate all day long, or not, as the case may be. But Dershowitz, a lifelong Democrat, a self-described liberal, a Harvard professor of law, emeritus forever and ever, considered to be one of the great legal scholars of his generation and of our time, is just laying it out here. Now it is the Republicans who are crying foul and who are claiming the Democrats are abusing the power of the congressional committee they control. Yeah, that's right. And he goes on from there. I won't bore you with the rest of all of this stuff. And by the way, Joe McCarthy, there were communists in the State Department. There were communists working on Capitol Hill. There were communists in Hollywood writing communist themes subtly into the screenplays and the performances and the movies and all of that is 100% true, and everybody knows it if you care to know it. And they, these communists, they were blacklisted. They were blacklisted by Hollywood, not by Washington, by the way. And most of them, when they were blacklisted, saw the heyday of their careers because they were hired more as blacklisted writers and producers and stuff than they were hired when they weren't blacklisted, just by the way. Yep. Yeah, it's a big cover-up. It's a cover-up. Yeah. John Solomon he works at the Hill also. John Solomon, who's been very busy. I read a John Solomon story yesterday. He's been following the story very closely, and he's been busy doing the work that the New York Times and CNN will never, ever do. Yesterday, John Solomon tweeted out, and I know John Solomon, and I like John Solomon, and I respect John Solomon as a reporter and a seeker of the truth. Very few of those in the news media in Washington or anywhere else in Washington, for that matter. John Solomon tweeted yesterday, tonight, referring to last night, with the Southeastern Legal Foundation's help, I filed a motion asking the FISA court to unseal evidence of wrongdoing or disciplinary actions in the Russia collusion case. America will benefit if we can achieve some transparency. John Solomon, filing Freedom of Information Act requests, said, none of these clowns these fake news organizations are doing that. It's their job. It's what they're supposed to be doing. But, of course, they're not. They're not doing that at all, are they? A tweet from Paul Sperry, a fun one. My friend Brian sent along. Paul Sperry tweeted, shh, hear that? It's the deafening silence of Barack Obama, who's suddenly gone to ground as Spygate scandal draws nearer and calls for him to be questioned under oath grow. No U.S. speaking events, appearances. Organizing for America quietly removed from his website. Fewer tweets from Barack Obama. Where's Barack Obama? What happened to Barack Obama? Yes, sir. Yep. Here it is. Yep. Barack Obama. Why isn't he involved in this? Why isn't he being interviewed by 60 Minutes? Why isn't there a stakeout at the end of his driveway? Why hasn't a single reporter asked a single question of Barack Obama about any of this? Why hasn't it? We know that Comey lied under oath, saying he was not aware that there was any surveillance of the Trump campaign going on. We know, or at least we're pretty sure, that he also lied under oath on a separate issue, a more subtle issue, having to do with whether he told Loretta Lynch to call the Hillary Clinton investigation a matter. But in any event, it's that alone would be more serious than what they got General Flynn on, and General Flynn, it looks like, is going to prison. We have a very corrupt media and a very corrupt city. This city is very, very corrupt. Our culture is very corrupt right now. And from Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel to Saturday Night Live to network executives and anchors and phony reporters at phony newspapers, we live in very, very corrupt times, very dishonest times. It's tragic. Speaking of dishonest people and dishonest times, let's go to Mo Yarborough. This is the lost Gabor sister, Jo Scarborough, of the Pigeon Sisters on DNC TV. This morning, I was watching, and boy, I wish I hadn't, but I was. And the first 2 minutes of the show was just a hate-filled, angry, venomous screed, spitting mad. Jo Scarborough attacking President Trump. He's no deal maker. He's the worst deal maker ever live in the White House. We've never had such a bad deal. He can't make a deal. Now, Nancy Pelosi blew up the discussions yesterday with her crazy talk, her crazy poison ivy stuff. Cover up. Nobody asked cover up of what. And then after he was done with his screed about that, he goes on. Now, again, I can keep citing it. Andrew McCarthy in National Review wrote a piece called The Big Lie That William Barr Lied. William Barr didn't lie. Go look at that piece. Look at everything else. Look at the transcript of the questions, the transcript of the answers. Figure it out for yourselves. But certainly don't believe lying Sacagawea like this guy, Mo Yarborough. He lied to his wife. He lied to his kids. He's cheating on his family with his co-anchor. Then he marries the co-anchor. He'll be cheating on her in no time. That's what they do. And here's Jo Scarborough this morning. Those idiot Americans in the middle of the country are too stupid to care that Trump is lying all the time, that William Barr lies all the time. There's one truth in here. The president won't hand over his tax returns. That's the one thing that he says is true. Otherwise, while he's accusing everybody of lying, he's lying, which is no sense of irony, these people. Jo Scarborough this morning.
For Democrats, though, they can talk about all the different investigations, and I know that people in Middle America, we're told, don't really care about the fact that the president obstructed justice, and they don't really care about the fact that the president won't turn over his tax returns, and they don't really care about the fact that we have an attorney general who commits perjury all the time, who lies all the time, actually is lying about how the Mueller investigation started, and is lying that it had everything to do with the Steele dossier.
Yeah, nothing to do with it.
We're told that most Americans just don't care about lying.
Well, not viewers of your show, obviously, few though they may be. Now, it's the one thing that was true in there is the president won't hand over his tax returns. Everything else can't be called anything but a lie. Everything else in there. The guy just lies. If his lips are moving, he's lying. His little clutch cargo lips, this creepy man who is just bitterly angry about President Trump. He really, I guess, it's like a Satan worship cult when it comes to Hillary Clinton losing the thing. And, you ignorant people in the middle of America, you don't care the president obstructed justice. That's been litigated, sport. Listen, pal of mine. Adam Schiffless, he could go down and read the virtually unredacted section. Less than, 1/10 of 1%? 6 sentences are redacted from the section number 2 on obstruction of justice in the Mueller report. Schiffless hasn't bothered to go down and look. I'm not sure if he can read. And here comes this. If you watch MSNBC and you get your news from them, you're just a moron. You know nothing. You have no idea what's going on. Everything you think you know is wrong. It's almost impossible to believe how dishonest that little screed was, but it is dishonest. It's pretty remarkable. Also, we had, I was watching CNN. This was MSNBC also. This Jacqueline Alemany. She is, everybody went to Harvard. By the way, everybody I watched on television this morning went to Harvard. I think maybe Harvard is the problem. That could be the thing.
Oh, sure. He went to Harvard.
I turned the channel, and there's John Berman. He went to Harvard. And then here's Jacqueline Alemany from the Washington Post, and she went to Harvard. And then I turned back to CNN, where the White House reporter, who got everything wrong but is at least political, she went to Harvard. And I just happened, I had the iPad in front of me, and I'm like, let's just take a look at this person. Everybody went to Harvard. Harvard is actually the problem. They give Barack Obama and everything else. It's the greatest financial institution, educational institution anywhere. Well, at least they all come out like robots. It's an indoctrination school. So here's Jacqueline Alemany of the Washington Post. And look, a little Freudian slip here. She's talking about the fact that 2 courts have ruled against Trump and in favor of the Democrats this week. Okay? And that everything is not going Trump's way. The 2 courts rule against him. And what is the third thing? That there are 3 things she's got here. What's the middle thing? There are 3 things she's got here, and all of them she accidentally described them as wins, not for the Democrats. She just described them as wins because she is also representing the interests of the Democrat Party.
There have been a series of pretty rapid wins from New York state legislators moving closer to passing a bill that will allow them to obtain Trump's New York tax returns, to Deutsche Bank, to Mazars, to all of these rulings that are happening really quickly.
You see, they're wins. There have been a series of wins. She just describes them blithely and casually as wins. There have been a series of wins. She didn't say for the Democrats or for Pelosi. Yet 2 Obama judges have ruled in favor of the Democrats on Capitol Hill this week. On the Deutsche Bank thing and on an accounting firm matter, they're trying to get at his tax returns. And the New York Democrats in Albany, the most corrupt capital, possibly Springfield, Illinois, too, in the country, Democrat-controlled, corrupt, redundant. In Albany, they passed a law saying if the Congress asks, then New York will hand over his state tax returns because, they're a mob. They're the Democrat Party, the left. They're a mob. There will be no civility until, what did Hillary Clinton say? Until they won the election. So that was a lie. Remember that? That was just another lie. Pretty much everything they say is a lie. It's a cover-up. A cover-up of what? Oh, don't ask pesky questions. A cover-up of what? There's a cover-up. We're all just going with cover-up. That's the phrase of the day.
If we are fortunate enough to win back the House and or the Senate, that's when civility can start again.
There's only one Chris Plante. The Chris Plante Show. Washington's Mall. WMAL. Where Washington comes to talk.
Tonight, the television event is finally here.
Farrah was a golden girl.
Now, 10 years after dying, on the same day as Michael Jackson, stunning new details. This is Farrah Fawcett.
It was magical.
Must see tonight at 8 on ABC.
Hi, I'm Patrick Fingles, owner of New Look Home Design. Spring is the busiest time to be a roofing company. It can define your whole year. For a roofer, having a great spring is about doing 3 things. 1, you gotta be ready to go. New Look offers same-day estimates and one-day installations. 2, know what you're doing. We have project managers, master tech installers, and a dedicated customer service team who have installed over 30,000 roofs. And last but not least, you gotta have knock it out of the park pricing. So through May 31st, get your roof installed now, pay for half of it next year, and pay me the other half. How about never? That's right, through May 31st, pay for half the roofing materials later, and the other half never. Want to know how we do this? Call 800-279-5300. That's 800-279-5300. NewLookHomeDesign.com. We do things other roofing companies don't.
What do you dream about? Maybe you dream about riding in your parents' old station wagon. And it's on a roller coaster track. Or maybe you don't dream at all because you suffer from sleep apnea. Now there's hope with Inspire, a sleep apnea innovation that allows you to get the sleep you've been dreaming about without a mask or a hose. Learn how to treat sleep apnea and review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
Hear the Virginia Grand Military Band this Saturday night at 7:30 at the Schlesinger Concert Hall. Free parking. Tickets sold at the door. Saturday night in Alexandria. The Virginia Grand Military Band.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
An effective defense often hinges on sophisticated strategies relating to income tax projections, business valuations, spousal support claims. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men protect their financial interests, particularly in the face of complex asset division. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Fairfax area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 571-446-0000. That's 571-446, all zeros. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in Falls Church.
Hey, it's Larry O'Connor, and my friends and realtors, Sarah and Debbie Reynolds with Keller Williams, are killing it. Sarah and Debbie just sold Bob's home in just 5 days at $10,000 over the asking price. You know, agent selection matters, and now's the time you need to work with an experienced agent with a proven track record like Sarah and Debbie Reynolds. I've had the pleasure of sitting down with their clients who always say, we're so glad we called the Reynolds team. I've seen their systems and their extensive list of ready buyers, over 8,000 pre-screened buyers who are looking for homes in the D.C. area. At the end of the deal, you want the most money in your pocket. The Reynolds team has the track record and guarantees to sell your home at 100% of your asking price, or they're going to pay you the difference, guaranteed, in writing. Call Sarah and Debbie Reynolds right now, 844-344-SOLD. That's 844-344-SOLD, or visit DebbieHasTheBuyers.com. That's DebbieHasTheBuyers.com.
An additional bedroom and a 2-car garage? And they didn't charge you an arm and a leg? Give me the number of these miracle workers. It's 1-800-1-800-GOT. G-O-T-J-U-N-K. J-U-N. 1-800-GOT-JUNK?
We thought we needed a bigger house.
We just needed to get rid of all the junk.
All you have to do is point.
We work until midnight, 7 days a week. And we can be there in 90 minutes.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
I had my baby last month.
I just got home from the hospital after surgery.
I take birth control pills.
I smoke.
What do these people have in common? They're all at risk for deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, a blood clot that could lead to a potentially fatal pulmonary embolism. Some people feel pain, others feel nothing. Even without symptoms, DVT can be fatal. Find out if you're at risk. Visit vdf.org/DVT test today. A message from the Vascular Disease Foundation.
105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Nancy Pelosi is lying on Capitol Hill. Well, she's standing up, but she's lying on Capitol Hill. And I was just watching the press conference during the break. Nancy Pelosi went from the reporter from MSNBC over to the reporter from CNN, and then back to a second reporter, a different reporter from MSNBC. And as you can imagine, they're not getting to the bottom of anything. There was one reporter, a male voice in the wilderness, yelling, "Don't you have to commit a crime for there to be a..." But she didn't go to that reporter. She went back to the MSNBC fluffer, who performed some fluffer acts and asked a fluffer question, then fluffed her pillows in her office, and then cleaned her shoes with their tongues. And it was a press conference on Capitol Hill. That's what they do. By the way, there have been terrible tornadoes in the United States last night. Terrible tornadoes, and Americans killed by these tornadoes, and it is we're still learning about the number of people killed and so on. But it's something to keep in mind as the day goes for these tornadoes. Of course, the news media is calling it global warming. Here's a story from the New York Times. The headline is, "Rats are taking over New York City. Gentrifying neighborhoods are a key reason behind the vermin outbreak." That's because they're improving neighborhoods. There are more rats. That's it. Because, see, the left is against gentrification. They like to live in beep-hole neighborhoods, and the more beep there is, the more they like it. That's why they love San Francisco. So it's gentrification, but if you go a little deeper into the story, it's a very lengthy New York Times story. If you go a little deeper into the story, you learn that it's not just gentrification, white people and stuff. It's also global warming. It's climate change. Climate change is causing more rats because they say the winters are shorter. They say that except during winter, when they say that the winters are longer and the snowfalls are greater. It's gentrification, and, of course, it's climate change, a.k.a. global warming, causing the horror of the rats. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants to compost in cities.
This is the Chris Plante Show. WMAL FM Woodbridge, WMAL Washington. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL Washington. A Cumulus station where Washington comes to talk. News now.
WMAL News at 11:30. I'm Maria Leaf. The news is sponsored by Unbound.org. President Trump saying he will no longer work with Democrats while they continue to investigate him. This is White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
He came in calmly, in command of the room, and said, "I want to do infrastructure. I want to get these things done, but you guys have to make a decision on whether or not you want to work with us or whether you want to spend all of your time attacking me."
Federal prosecutors charging a banker with trying to buy himself a role in the administration by making risky loans to former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort. Stephen Kalk was arrested this morning in New York City on a financial institution bribery charge. He is scheduled to appear in Manhattan federal court this afternoon.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
WMAL traffic and weather. Here's Steve Hirshorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On the inner loop of the Beltway northbound on 495 in delays now from Springfield into that work zone that is before Braddock Road along the right. North of that, the inner loop was pretty slow from the toll road across the American Legion Bridge over to the Cabin John Parkway. On westbound 66, the broken down vehicle off the road near the Fairfax County Parkway still a little slow but improving southbound 95 at Dale City. Construction in the left lane. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Chance for thunderstorms this afternoon, high 89. More storms possible tonight, low 69. It's 74 right now in Bethesda, 72 at Reagan National. I'm Maria Leaf on Washington's Mall, WMAL.
I've got some news for you. The Good Feet store is at long last now open in Fairfax, Virginia, too. Hey, listen, I've been working with the fine people at the Good Feet store for years, and by now you have probably heard me tell the story of Jonathan Cotton, the owner of the Good Feet store, and how the Good Feet store changed his life. Changed it so much that he bought the store. Now he's opened his newest location at Fairfax Corner to help you live your best life. Listen, if you've got foot pain, leg pain, back pain, slowing you down, you need to visit the Good Feet store. You don't have to live with foot pain any longer. Let Jonathan and his team help you with the Good Feet store's 3-step system that is the proven solution to relieving foot pain. And their products come with a lifetime warranty, so they last a lifetime or the Good Feet store will replace them. And they're made right here in the United States of America. Now, it's been a long time coming, but the Good Feet store is now located in Rockville, and a new location opened in Fairfax at Fairfax Corner.
Hi, this is Simon Hamilton, co-host of WMAL's Wise Investor Show. Remember to check out our annual Outlook seminar by logging on to thewiseinvestorgroup.com and clicking on Annual Seminar. The goal of our seminar is clear. We'll leave economic predictions to the talking heads and instead help you understand what the markets themselves are telling us. Log in and see how the evidence suggests you can be positioned to properly balance potential return with risk management.
Simon Hamilton and the Wise Investor Group are affiliated with Robert W. Baird & Company, Incorporated.
You know, people frequently equate the word custom with expensive, but that's not the case at Cabinet Discounters. Every project we do is custom designed to satisfy your needs, desires, and your budget. So whichever line of cabinetry you choose, Cabinet Discounters' experienced designers will create a kitchen or bath that is uniquely yours. And not only kitchens and baths, we can customize any room in your house. Wet bars, entertainment centers, hutches, home offices, and much more. Get some great ideas for your project in the photo gallery on our website, CabinetDiscounters.com. Call for a free consultation with an experienced designer. Then visit one of Cabinet Discounters' 7 showrooms in Maryland and Virginia to see for yourself all the things we can offer. Cabinet Discounters. Get hours and locations at CabinetDiscounters.com.
Check out this month's special offers at CabinetDiscounters.com.
Cabinet Discounters. Great quality, great price.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Get caught up on your way home with the biggest stories in news, politics, and entertainment. It's the Larry O'Connor Show every day right after Rush on WMAL.
Nancy Pelosi's press conference was a classic demonstration of everything that is wrong with the corrupt news media and with a corrupt city called Washington, D.C. In fact, the Fox News anchorwoman just mentioned it moments ago. Said nobody in the room followed up on Nancy Pelosi's claim that there's a cover-up. Nobody said cover-up of what? What's the crime? Nobody followed. The Fox News anchor noticed it, but none of the phony baloney Democrat shill reporters in the room actually asked. And Nanny didn't go to that. Chad Pergram was there from Fox News. I think there was another Fox News reporter in the room as well, but she didn't go to them. And none of the other reporters are going to say, well, what is it you keep saying? There's a cover-up. A cover-up of what? And they haven't gotten there. Here we are like a week into this cover-up stuff. You know, the Democrats know that that William Barr is hot on their trail. That William Barr, the Attorney General, that he has 2 U.S. attorneys across the country and the Inspector General at the Department of Justice looking into the apparent, if not obvious, abuses by Barack Obama's administration, Loretta Lynch's Justice Department, James Comey's FBI, and John Brennan's CIA during the 2016 election and beyond. We know that we have Comey, at least it appears quite apparent that he lied under oath at least twice. And the Democrats are creating a little storm over here so that the news media, lapdogs that they are, will run after the red rubber ball that the Democrats bounce across the room. And they'll stick their snoots underneath the refrigerator trying to get it out. And they'll never ask the obvious questions. And Pelosi will never call on a reporter that will ask the pertinent questions, and she'll ignore the pertinent questions. She'll deflect and go back to talking points because she is a skilled huckster, if nothing else. But we have that going for us. And we also have a couple of sound bites from Pelosi at her little press conference this morning where nobody asked the salient questions. Now, one person, possibly Chad Pergram of Fox News, was somebody, it may have been him, was shouting the question, cover-up of what? And, of course, she just didn't call on that person, and she wouldn't respond to that question anyway. And she knows that all these lapdogs in there are just sitting there like a yapping group of poodles waiting for a treat to be thrown their way. And they're never going to ask any serious questions. Nancy Pelosi at her press conference just said there's a cover-up in there. And of what? Of a cover-up. There's a cover. And what they're saying is, well, he won't hand over his tax. When you boil it down, here's the thing. He's not handing over his tax returns. Therefore, there's a cover-up. A cover-up of what? Well, we don't know because he won't hand over his tax returns. Okay? Right. And now you're in a circular thing, which is where the Democrats want you, and you never move forward because they're progressives. Nancy Pelosi a few minutes ago.
I think what happened, he says it's because of cover-up, and I know that strikes a chord with him, and he's afraid of cover-up. But
cover-up.
Afraid of being accused of cover-up.
Cover-up.
But I really think that what
cover-up.
He knew the one court decision was getting into territory that he did not want touched, and they did not allow the Mueller investigation to go into president's personal finances.
Well, that's BS. They didn't prohibit the Mueller investigation. So they're talking apparently a cover-up about his personal finances and the fact that he won't hand over his tax returns. So the judge, the Obama appointee, ruled in favor of the Democrats. And that's why the Democrats put judges in place to be party apparatchiks in courts. And Republicans put judges in place to be jurists to protect and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Democrats put them in place to do the bidding of the Democrat Party. That's, generally speaking, certainly true. If not in every single instance, it's the thing. We expect our jurists to be jurists and not political appointees. The Democrats expect the exact opposite. So there it is. So he's afraid, and she keeps using cover-up. And I already played the montage of these dimwits in the news media. Cover-up. Little yapping lapdogs, never asking any of the obvious questions. There are several that occur to me immediately, but not a single one of these lapdogs would ever ask. There's supposed to be a watchdog. Right? You can be an attack dog. They are an attack dog when it comes to Republicans, lapdogs when it comes to Democrats. They're just supposed to be watchdogs for Republicans and Democrats. Is that too much to ask? Yes, I guess it is. Nancy Pelosi, well, he's afraid of that. And a judge, the Obama-appointed judge, then a second judge ruled in favor of the Democrats, also another Obama appointee. And now we have the Democrats in Albany, New York, passing legislation yesterday saying, hey, if Congress asks the state of New York for Trump's tax records from the state of New York, we'll hand over his state of New York tax records. We're waiting for Baby Doc Cuomo to sign that, which he invariably will, because this is a team sport for the Democrats. It's not about the law or what's legitimate or what's justified. It's about hate and anger and rage. In fact, we have that rage thing together. Nancy Pelosi, just a few minutes ago.
He pulled a stunt. Now, I truly believe that the president has a bag of tricks, and the White House has a bag of tricks that they save for certain occasions. They don't necessarily apply to the occasion, but they're a distraction, which is his master of distraction. We will all agree on that. That's something he does well, to distract from problems that he has. He tries to change the subject. What? And while he tried to say,
actually changes the subject.
Cover up. We've been saying cover up for a while.
Cover up.
And our 9 o'clock meeting was a meeting we'd have anyway, so it had nothing to do with him. But I think what really got to him was these court cases and the fact that the House Democratic Caucus is not on a path to impeachment. And that's where he wants us to be.
See, she is everything is a distraction. Honestly, they watch too much Game of Thrones. These people are so full of crap. We should really fire them all at once and start over in Congress. This is a disgrace. These people should be floating somewhere. Listen, the distraction thing. And this is the argument she's making to her Democrats on Capitol Hill, that the president wants us to be going down the impeachment road. This is the argument she's making to the Ilhan Omars and the AOCs. That's the Democrat Party of today. And Trump wants us to impeach him. That's what she's saying, because that'll be good for him. This is the argument they're making. And the news media says, yes, like zombies, glassy-eyed loons that they are. Yes, he wants us to impeach him because that would be good for him, for us to impeach him. And none of this is a distraction away from the investigations going on into, right, the corruption of the Obama administration and the abuses of power at the Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, the FISA courts, the opposition research. Yeah, Joe Scarborough said, the Steele dossier had nothing to do with the investigation. I mean, where these people come up with this stuff, they're just extraordinary. Boy. New York puts Democrats a step closer to President Trump's tax returns, the right-wingers at the Associated Press typing. New York lawmakers gave final passage to legislation Wednesday that would allow President Donald Trump's state tax returns to be released to congressional committees that have so far been barred from getting the president's federal filings. The Democrat-led Senate and Assembly both approved measures Wednesday, sending them to Governor Andrew Baby Doc Cuomo, a Democrat. A spokesman said the governor supports the principle behind the legislation, but will review the bill carefully before deciding whether to sign it. That's BS. He's going to sign it. There's going to be no careful review. He can't wait to do it because he wants to stick it to the man. Don't you know? Don't you know? NYC teacher, speaking of the city of New York, who paid students to build bombs, sentenced. Why would they put somebody in? Come on, I mean, honestly. Christian Toro, a New York City math teacher who paid students to dismantle fireworks and store the explosive powder, was sentenced to nearly 6 years in prison Wednesday by a judge who cited these dangerous times when schools and places of worship must guard against violence. The math teacher in New York City who paid students, listen to U.S. District Judge Richard M. Berman, cited these dangerous times when schools and places of worship, they're writing the same sentence twice, and doubled 3 to 4 years called for by federal sentencing guidelines when he sentenced Christian Toro to 5 years and 10 months in prison. Say, just a teacher, he ordered the kids, he's too lazy to do it himself. Lots and lots of fireworks, crack them open, store the gunpowder because he was building up enough stuff to build bombs. They said that the powder and other explosive materials, enough to construct a bomb, were found after a student Toro was having sex with, called in a bomb threat to her school. Hey, it's just the school system. What do you expect from a school system? This is, let's see, who controls the teachers' unions and the school systems again? In court papers, Toro's lawyers requested leniency, saying Toro had expressed sincere shame and remorse and is now clean and sober and rehabilitated. Sure, that's right. Yeah. Prosecutor said Toro and his brother, who awaits sentencing also, stored a cache of dangerous materials in a Bronx apartment. Toro paid at least 2 students to break apart commercial fireworks and store their explosive powder in containers. That's not a problem, is it? Why would that be a problem? Speaking of popular Democrats, Michael Avenatti indicted on charges of defrauding ex-client Stormy Daniels, identity theft. Embattled New York attorney Michael Avenatti was charged by federal prosecutors Wednesday with defrauding adult film star Stormy Daniels. Is she really a star? Would you say that she's a star? The client who propelled Avenatti to national prominence. Avenatti, 48 years old, faces 1 count of wire fraud, 1 count of aggravated identity theft. He faces up to 22 years in prison if convicted of those charges. Daniels is not named in the indictment, but federal law enforcement official confirmed to Fox News that she is the client prosecutors claimed Avenatti defrauded. Turns out that she was awarded $300,000, and he stole the $300,000 and paid for his Ferrari payments and rent and stuff for it. Avenatti stole 2 payments totaling $297,500 from an advance Daniels was supposed to receive from a book deal. Sure. Avenatti sent a doctored letter with Daniels' signatures to her literary agent that instructed the agent to divert the money to an account controlled by Avenatti. Sounds like just another lawyer, isn't it? I mean, I think lawyers might hurt Avenatti's reputation. Might be detrimental. Yeah, he got the payments, and then he made his he paid the monthlies on his Ferrari and some rent payments and other things. That's okay, though. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I love this one. Hey, Siri, stop perpetuating sexist stereotypes, the United Nations says. I'm sorry, what is this? The United Nations? CNN typed up the story. Siri, Alexa, and other female-voiced AI assistants are perpetuating gender stereotypes and encouraging sexist and abusive language from users, a United Nations report has revealed. The report by UNESCO warns of the negative consequences of the personal assistants, claiming they perpetuate the idea that, quote, women are obliging, docile, and eager to please helpers, available at the touch of a button or with blunt voice commands. Now, Victoria, producer of our humble radio show, today explained to me that she's Siri. She played her Siri voice for me. It's an Australian man. What's his name? His name is Siri, I guess. But it's an Australian man. It also, the United Nations also highlighted the passive and polite responses the assistants give when users make sexually suggestive remarks, warning that their algorithms are reinforcing sexist tropes. The assistant holds no power of agency beyond what the commander asks of it. This is agency. I love this agency stuff. The report, this is a UN report. We fund this stuff with our tax dollars. We go to work in the morning so we can send money to the United Nations so they can come up with stuff like this and then do nothing when genocides are happening. Actually, that's wrong. They usually side with the perpetrators of the genocide. It honors commands and responds to queries. Can you say queries in 2019? Regardless of their tone or hostility. Well, we should change that, shouldn't we? In many communities, there's communities again, agency and communities, this reinforces commonly held gender biases that women are subservient and tolerant of poor treatment. What emerges is an illusion that Siri, an unfeeling, unknowing, and non-human string of computer code, is a heterosexual female. How do we know that she's heterosexual? She sounds a little kind of, bump to me. Sounds a little, I'm making a hand gesture over here. A heterosexual female, tolerant and occasionally inviting of male sexual advances and even harassment. It projects a digitally encrypted boys will be boys attitude. These people are mentally unstable, and there are millions of them. Hundreds of millions of people use personal assistants. Wow. The report was named I'd Blush If I Could, which is the response Siri once gave when users said, "You're a slut." the United Nations, ladies and gentlemen.
You're listening to The Chris Plante Show. Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Alden Cat, your local Caterpillar dealer, has the deals that will help put yellow in your lot and green in your wallet. With 0% financing for 48 months or cash back, you could be sitting in a skid steer, compact track loader, or a mini excavator today. To find a solution that best fits your needs, visit our showroom on Hornbaker Road in Manassas, or visit digwithcat.com. That's digwithcat.com. Dealer territory restrictions may apply.
The lowest fee in real estate is coming soon to Washington, D.C. There's no longer any reason to pay 6% to sell your home. Introducing Rex. Rex sells homes for the lowest fee in the industry. 2% total, saving thousands of dollars per transaction. With Rex, you get a full-service team backed by technology. They don't market homes the way traditional agents do. Rex uses advanced digital marketing tactics to directly target hundreds of qualified buyers to your home the moment it goes on the market. And Rex charges only 2% total, not the 6% commission your local broker expects. Get started now by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Since 2015, Rex has saved homeowners millions of dollars in fees across California, Texas, New York, and Colorado. Now it's your time, Washington, D.C., to sign on for a simplified and cost-savings approach to buying or selling a home. To get started, call now at 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Rex Real Estate Exchange, Incorporated.
You've worked hard your entire life to get where you are. Studied hard, went to the right schools, got the good job, but your teeth have not kept up with you. Isn't it time you invested in you again?
I'm Dr. Borrelia from the Cascade Center for Dental Health in Sterling. We know what bad teeth can do to an individual's psyche, self-esteem, and overall health. At Cascades, we combine our new state-of-the-art facility with a team that genuinely cares about your well-being. Each patient is unique, and we treat you that way, helping you overcome the fear of the dentist. From simple procedures to Cascades One permanent teeth in a day to on-staff board-certified anesthesiologists that make sure your experience is pain and anxiety-free. All of Cascades' work is done in-house. Our in-house lab, use of premium materials, 10-year guarantee, and the best team in Washington mean that you receive the best care possible.
Finally, my teeth are as healthy as the rest of me. That's a great reason to smile.
For Cascades' many success stories, visit Cascades1.com or call 866-25-SLEEP.
Underage smoking and vaping is a serious problem. One way to combat it, raise the legal age to purchase from 18 to 21. About 80% of high school students turn 18 before graduating. If they can legally buy tobacco, they can share with underage classmates. Raising the purchase age to 21 reduces underage access. That's why Juul Labs supports making 21 plus the law nationwide. Learn more at Juul.com/T21. Juul Labs, for adult smokers only. Paid for by Juul Labs.
Have you heard about Newsmax TV? It's America's fastest-growing cable news channel in 70 million homes. Every minute, every day. Watch Newsmax for breaking news on President Trump. Plus, get insights from Bill O'Reilly, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, Mike Reagan, and more. You can find Newsmax TV on DirecTV, Xfinity, Dish, Optimum, Spectrum, Fios, Uverse, Suddenlink, WOW, and dozens of cable systems. So check your guide now and watch Newsmax TV. Real news for real people.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now. 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
Attention all authors.
Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Mornings on the Mall. Weekdays 5 till 9 on Washington's Mall. WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
All right, Michael Piercy yesterday stayed after school and did a project, and it involves, the evil, sinister villains in Washington, D.C., who are Batman-esque in their lunacy. And we threw a little of the old, classic Adam West, Burt Ward music in, and some of the characters that many remember from childhood. President Trump in this scenario is, of course, Batman.
Here are the dastardly villains, the Catwoman.
You could reach in a bag and pull so many things out that are impeachable of this president.
The Joker.
We believe that the President of the United States is engaged in a cover-up.
The Penguin.
He cannot seek to be a dictator and to destroy the separation of powers and to be above the law. That's what he's trying to do.
The Riddler.
To not see what is plainly in front of us, you basically don't want to see the evidence of collusion because it is quite abundant.
Next week, Batman versus the Mad Hatter.
What could possibly cause President Trump to put the interests of Russia over those of the United States?
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Mr. Trump.
Yes.
Are you Batman?
I am Batman.
I am Batman, and that President Trump, a little girl at a campaign stop, asked him if he was Batman, and he said, I am Batman. I think it's the Batman now, though, isn't it? It's the cast of characters wearing crazy clothes. They live in places where the camera strikes a Dutch angle to make them crooked. And little Michael Piercy after-school project from yesterday. Another story of another twice-deported illegal alien trying to kidnap a 14-year-old girl walking home from school, this one in Seattle. And Eskel Medina Vasquez, 51 years old, stalking a 14-year-old girl walking home from school, jumped out of his pickup truck, hooked his arm around her neck, and tried to drag her in to the open passenger door of the truck. People standing nearby witnessed it. The girl was hysterical, broke the necklace off her neck, reported it to the police. Her neck was all marked up and red. If you go to the very last sentence of the Seattle Times, you'll see that the federal court showed that Medina Vasquez was deported twice from the United States, and after being deported twice and sneaking back in a third time, he was arrested again in King County, Washington, and they just keep letting him go and letting him go and letting him go.
WMAL FM Woodbridge, WMAL Washington. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL Washington. A Cumulus station where Washington comes to talk. News now.
WMAL News at noon. I'm Maria Leaf. Happening now, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy talking about comments made yesterday by Speaker Nancy Pelosi regarding the president.
The idea as a speaker.
Thanks for listening to the Chris Plante Show podcast. From 105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL. Listen weekday mornings 9 to noon for the latest. And download more free original content daily from WMAL.com.